Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 225. It's me, it's my son, Jack, back down in the basement for another week of wrestling discussion. Last week, we had lots to talk about in our opening segment because we actually did stuff. I would say that is less the case this week. Didn't do a lot of stuff.
A little bit. No.
Back to the normal routine, the normal grind. Although we are doing something tomorrow. I guess we're heading down to a university open house for a potential school for you down in the city, downtown Toronto at TMU. So that could be fun. And then I imagine we might get tangled up in a meal down there or something, as we tend to do. So that should be fun. Well,
I guess we're in town with Uncle. Uncle is there. I mean, I assume he does things, but...
Yeah, he might be busy, but we can always see if he's around because he's sometimes down in that area. Even just like last time we were down there, we met up with him for just a few minutes as your brother was training at the university there. But you can see on the table, if you're watching on video, Jack got some important packages. Well, before you discuss it, I guess we should say that there are timestamps. You can always jump ahead to whatever section you would like. If you're new, welcome. We're going to talk about AEW Dynamite, NXT. Very little Raw this week because Saudi Raw, not really interesting to me.
Maybe dabble in SmackDown.
Dabble in a bit of SmackDown. I did not watch TNA. Maybe you threw a couple things in the news because I know there were some notables from the show. I can
bring that up, yeah, I guess.
But yeah, we can talk about that. But first, we'll just talk about whatever. And I'm sure you mentioned that you pre-ordered these things and you were just waiting.
I ordered this the second it went up, so I want to say it was sometime in the summer.
And it is, for people who are not looking, and maybe my lighting's terrible because my video's bad, I understand.
I think Jay White's first figure since, he had his figure back when he was in New Japan that was made by, Figure Store Company, but their stuff is not, I don't think it's great. And anyway, so first probably major figure, and because I don't think he got any of those New Japan figures either when those were briefly running around. But yeah, I pre-ordered his ringside exclusive, which
comes in a cool box.
It's got a box with a sleeve that's not going to stay.
No.
But it's him in the red tights from initially Forbidden Door, but I guess he also busted these out against MJF at Full Gear last year.
And the tights are actually textured as they are in life.
So it's
pretty nice detail.
And I got the jacket too, which is nice. So yeah, I ordered both him and Takeshita got ringside exclusive, so Takeshita should be here within the month. And I also, on this order, I got Melo's first basic just because I want another Melo, and I like him better in the long tights, and his Elite was in trunks.
Nice. So you were
got those.
Quite happy to receive those yesterday, right? I think it was?
Today.
Oh, it was today, right? Very exciting. I played some more pickleball last night, and it was with the group, with the woman who doesn't like me, but she wasn't there.
Oh.
And I was trying to decide, because I was just down in Mike's garage, and he was like, Scott was there too, and he's like, well, that's good she wasn't there. And in some weird way, I almost am fascinated by her loathing of me for no reason. It's almost interesting, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I think I was disappointed she wasn't there. And that's maybe not normal because she really does not enjoy my presence, but I find it interesting somehow.
It is interesting.
But yeah, it's November, whatever it was yesterday, 7th, and it was still 11 or 12 degrees. I was playing
quite a nice week
pickleball outdoors for 2 hours, and by the end I was down to a t-shirt because it's crazy how it's still pretty warm. The furnace has not kicked in yet, I don't think, in the house, which
is that when it gets too cold?
I always joke about I don't want to turn the furnace on until November, and we almost never make it, and here we are November 8th and I still haven't turned it on.
Global warming.
Climate change now is the correct terminology. Could be that.
Same crap.
But anyways, anything else you wanted to discuss?
I've been watching a bunch. I watched some movies this week.
Oh yeah, you fell in love with
What's Eating Gilbert Grape,
which
masterful.
Didn't know that you knew it existed.
I was somewhat aware of it because sometimes I get these random reels where it's clips from movies and it's some of them look interesting, but I never actually watched them. But I saw a clip again. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch that.
You're not going anywhere, Gilbert.
And it was on Prime, but it was one of those stupid ones where it's it's on Prime, but you still got to rent it.
Yeah.
So then I just found it on a perfectly legal streaming site in which I watch things legally. But yeah, that movie was pretty crazy. I thought it was awesome.
I told you it's where you have to sort of acknowledge that DiCaprio was a good actor.
DiCaprio was great, and
because
Johnny Depp was really good too.
Johnny Depp's amazing. I told you that was my sister's heartthrob guy when she was young.
That's odd. But sure.
Because she was not a mainstream person, right? So he was in 21 Jump Street, the original TV show.
Right.
And then became a movie star who made kind of odd choices he wasn't doing all the mainstream stuff necessarily.
I like his version of Willy Wonka. I don't think a lot of people like that one, but I think that one's a cool movie.
It is.
Also, speaking of Depp, was also on Prime. I got to watch that Corpse Bride again because that one's really cool.
I remember watching with your aunt when she was super young, Sleepy Hollow, which was one of his as well, I think. Anna Burton, kind of a strange film.
I feel
not like super young, like she was.
But yeah,
shouldn't have been watching it, but
it was really good.
Maybe.
Just all the characters are like they got some good nuance to them, and DiCaprio was absolutely insane. Like if I didn't know any better, I'd think he was special.
You would think that's him.
I think Depp does really well, and it just like the pace and setting reminded me of Napoleon Dynamite, which is good.
And you were
I
saying
think I enjoyed it better.
You were saying the mother was not an actor. That was her.
Yeah,
I think they cast her based on that's what we want her to be.
She was really good in that role too, and I think the ending was super heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's a
it's
a tough movie.
I think I can talk about it just because it's so old now.
It's 30 years old. You can
30 years old. Yeah, like when.
What year was it made? I'll look that up.
93.
Okay, you know.
So it was.
That feels right. It's
like because obviously
your age.
They make a point, and this is our digression, I guess. Here,
yeah,
they make a point.
Skip ahead.
Multiple times that Arnie, because of whatever he has, whatever special condition he is, he wasn't supposed to make it past 10, and so this is the whole. I think the climax of the story is his 18th birthday party, right? And I think it was like the night before, Gilbert's trying to bathe him because that's one of his duties, and he neglected the one time, and so then Arnie's afraid of the water now, and so he's like forcing him in, like Arnie's like actually kind of fighting back and pulling his hair, and then he hits him, right?
Yeah.
And so then Arnie runs off and Gilbert kind of goes off, and they both end up at Becky's trailer separately.
Right.
And then they end up coming back, and I remember he gets Becky to meet his mom because she wanted to while moving. He was ashamed of her the whole movie, and that kind of came around.
Right.
And where he was actually like, the character growth and whatnot.
Yep.
And then I remember she works her way up to upstairs finally because her whole thing was, remember, she's on the couch the whole movie, and it's like
does not move.
Gilbert
has to do everything
and taking a toll on the house, which kind of was nice tie into the trauma she had.
Yeah.
And so she's lying in the bed, and like the rest of the siblings are there. She keeps asking to see the birthday boy Arnie, and then when he finally gets there, she's done.
Right.
And that was just like that was crazy. And then the part where they burned the house was really sweet. Although in wrestling fan
harkens back to Paige.
It almost made me chuckle in that sense, just because I like that almost killed it for me.
Yeah. And it's just the movie is an exercise in sympathy for Gilbert, right? Like,
it's really good, yeah. And like I thought it was interesting how he is a good dude, but not perfect, because he has the affair with whatever her name is.
No, everybody's flawed in it, right? Which is
and I thought
humans.
The main theme I saw was like that. Well, he's always putting everyone else first, so he kind of gets in these crappy situations, and then that resent harbors. So I thought it was really great. And then I watched on a completely opposite end of the spectrum is Sing, just because that was a fun one for me.
That is the opposite end.
But that one's a feel good.
That was a nostalgia watch.
Yeah, and then I watched some of 22 Jump Street, but I didn't finish it, which is why 21 Jump Street. That was interesting. But I didn't.
And I know you watched that movie again recently, 21.
That was the first time I watched it, because we tried to watch it at a sleepover once, but we never finished it. So I really liked it. Yeah.
So yeah, there was a 80s or early 90s show based.
I don't remember, but I was just googling that because I think on Jokers they made a reference to some guy on 21 Jump Street. I was like, was he in it? But then it ended up being the show.
And then later seasons, Richard Grieco came in, and
that's who they said.
He was the next heartthrob coming in.
That's what Jokers brought up. Yeah, it was like they said something. I think it was when they were referring to Murr's eyebrows. They said Richard Grieco.
So it was played for serious. It was a group of like young-looking police officers who were going undercover in schools and whatnot.
In comes Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill.
Right, playing it for comedy.
Yeah,
but I kind of like that though. They're taking an existing thing and putting a different spin on it instead of just like, oh, it's a modern version of it.
Yeah, which
it's got different tones.
It's a lot easier to do. Yeah,
it's like you tried a little bit harder.
And the ones with Jonah Hill are good. Like I want to watch Superbad again.
Superbad's brilliant.
I love Superbad.
Superbad's amazing.
Superbad, Kip Sabian.
No, he's less amazing.
What?
I guess, but Christian explains why he's in the group this week.
I like it.
You like that reasoning? I thought they were. Anyways, we'll talk about it when we get there.
Make sense. It's not exactly what I was following, but I guess it's the only thing that makes sense.
I guess it kind of makes sense, but anyways, we'll get there.
It's definitely not. I'm not even saying that's not what I thought it was coming, but legitimately, I can't see anything else.
No,
it's like
they tried. I'll give them that.
I think. Well, I guess again we'll talk about it later, but it's just because the way they started going about it was like I was so confused for so long. I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, it sounds to me like you're ready to start talking about wrestling instead of our amazingly busy lives.
Small review of What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Exactly.
I want to watch that again.
Spoilers. Yeah, I'll watch it with you.
I'll try to go. Oh yeah, okay.
I'll watch it with you.
Try to go through it dry-eyed. We'll watch legally. Actually, if we're watching it, we can just rent it probably off of Apple TV or something.
I do have a little-known channel called FNS Reviews where we could review anything. I haven't touched it.
I would actually try that.
I haven't touched it in years, but that's why I started it, so we could review anything.
Legitimately forgot you did that, but it sounds like something you would have done.
Yep, there's nothing really. I did a couple. I was messing around with stuff, so I think there's a couple microphone reviews that are terrible.
Okay, I do remember that.
Because I didn't know how to do any. It was just me playing around with stuff and then putting it up for fun because I don't really care. But anyways, we will start talking about wrestling for real now. It's our first segment. It's wrestling news and rumors. All right, so the ratings are a big deal this week, right? Because it was head-to-head. So, and I guess the bottom line is it looks like maybe people tuned out from from Dynamite to watch NXT because they did go head-to-head as it was NXT.
They also went heavy nostalgia bait. So as the AEW fan, I'm going to play that card.
So NXT was trying to avoid the election results, I believe, so they moved to Wednesday.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And NXT averaged 619,000 viewers, so up 5.3% from last week and earned a 0.17 in that key demographic. I
will say I did enjoy the setting of the ECW arena from what I saw.
Tiny but cool.
It was cool, and I was saying to you, the stage reminded me of Full Sail, just the way it looked.
Apparently there was like no real hard cam because they were trying to pack as many people in as possible, so they were using like a boom cam, I think.
Interesting.
And then the usual ringside ones. So the demo was up 21.4. And again, they won the head-to-head with Dynamite because Dynamite averaged 523,000 viewers, down 16.7. So that's significant. They went somewhere. And there is another wrestling show being offered, right? So it seems that way. And a 0.16 in the key demographic, down 15.8%. So yeah, head-to-head, NXT wins. They did definitely plan for going head-to-head. They really went with the ECW stuff. And
unfortunately, that works.
We'll get to the specific people that showed up. They did get a good reaction. So I guess I'm not that person, but I guess a lot of people are, right? The nostalgia in wrestling seems to be huge, and I seem to kind of be the outlier of that because I don't really care most of the time. But anyways, I have a few news stories. Hopefully you have some as well. It's your turn, so go ahead.
Elimination Chambers coming to our neck of the woods.
I had that as well, 2025. Yeah. So yeah, Rogers Center. So that's like huge. That's stadium, not arena, right? So that's big. That'll be.
I mean,
tickets will be priced out of my range, probably.
But
I wouldn't want to sit super
worth a
far.
look.
Yeah, worth a look for sure.
I was joking to my friend though how visible it would be like during the chamber matches, and then I said Punjabi prison in Toronto.
That's true too, and if you're really far, it might be even worse, which is all I would be willing to pay for probably. But
yeah,
we'll see.
Likely.
So last week we talked about the WWE ID program that's starting up.
Oh,
did you see their first 3 contracted wrestlers?
Yeah, I told you one of them was Bryce Donovan of Buck Hunt fame.
Correct. So Bryce Donovan is one, apparently a regular on the Northeast indie scene.
And star of Buck Hunt.
8th year, scouted out of Wrestling Open, worked for AEW 5 times. That would be one.
I find it interesting that
and
I think
ROH.
Someone commented that none of the people they scouted so far are from the cooperating promotions that they mentioned.
Any of the promotions run by WWE affiliated people,
or even just like there's a couple non-affiliated ones that were part of the program.
So Zeta Steel, 21-year-old 2-year professional from Combat Zone Wrestling, even though she hasn't wrestled there since September 23, she's been on a 5-month working in Japan for Marigold apparently. And I looked her up. She looks like another, not to be rude, generic blonde that I would get confused if she were backstage in NXT.
Bright gray.
Not that you can't change your look or anything. And then this one interested me. Cappuccino Jones of Coffeeville, Kansas. So I guess he really leans into the coffee gimmick. Like he has signature moves called
Froggy Brew,
the caramel latte leg drop, the half and half, and the espresso lariat.
Half and half is actually kind of funny.
So pro just since 22. Wrestles in Oklahoma Indies. Interesting though, when I looked him up, and so he wrestled once each for AEW and Ring of Honor in 2024, listed at only 160 pounds. So he's like lighter than I am, which is small.
I saw 3 more announced, and the only one I noted was Jack Cartwheel.
Yeah, he's improved a lot. He is signed, eh? I'd heard that.
He's he was in NWA most recently.
So he's like a lot of the. Well, he may have evolved now, but when I was watching him, he was like, you know how we complain about the women in NXT being too tumbly? He's cartwheel, like as much as he can work it in, almost to like comedy effect when I used to watch him on the indies. I imagine he's rounded out his offense more now, but he's like crazy athletic.
Yeah, they
for
used
sure.
his actual name on there. It was like Cartwheel Jack, whatever his name is.
Cartwheel Jack Cartwheel.
Yeah, that's Cartwheel squared.
What do you have? Anything else?
Just gonna try to find his name, but yeah, I saw Malachi Black's contract is believed to be up towards the end of this year or beginning of next year.
We are towards the end of this year.
Jack Summit,
which might explain what happened on Dynamite this week.
It's
might
very
not.
odd to me.
It's up in the air, right? Because it was definitely beyond a normal bit, but I guess we'll get there. Sad news. Everyone's favorite Carl Anderson out with a shoulder injury, 6-9. And I don't ever want to see people get hurt, but I will not miss Good Brothers on TV. Although, if the universe were to conspire against me, it's like, well, we'll send Gallows down to NXT for a run.
Big man run. He could fight Femi.
He could be the new Baron Corbin sort of role. And I will be furious because
I would love that.
The Good Brothers should not be anywhere near. And Anderson's not bad, honestly. He gets dragged down by being
not horrible.
By being with Gallows. But anyways. You? I only have two more.
In a move I think a lot of people have been calling for, but I disagree with based on the depth. The women's US title was revealed on SmackDown.
Oh.
Want to guess what it looks like?
All the other ones?
The men's belt with a white strap.
Yeah, exactly.
Hooray! Cool, I guess. But honestly, this means we're going to have the women's Intercontinental title on Raw. I'm calling it right now. Raw will have that. And then, dude, the women's division, I think, is barely deep enough on the main roster to hold the two, like, quote-unquote, world titles as it is. Now you're going to tell me they're going to have 4 women's belts on the main roster?
NXT could almost use a second one with the
NXT has a second
talent.
one.
They do.
I'm saying NXT is deep beyond need.
They are.
The main roster doesn't have. That's what I'm saying. The good ones from NXT, call them up if you're doing this.
Yeah.
And then also it borders into this thing where I don't like where, well, I think the brand name belts were kind of goofy. Like, you know, when they had the Raw and SmackDown tag and women's belts, at least then it gave them a purpose to stay on the show. Because now it's like,
and at least I could tell which ones were where.
That and
because I have no clue.
Now it's like both the world titles are on Raw and they have to stay together. You know what I mean? Like Gunther and Liv Morgan, if they both hold the world titles, for example, they're never going to be on the different show. It feels like because they want to have that uniform. But now it's like they have the uniform, but it's under the guise of it being, you know, just regular belts. Because now like the world tag, the world women's, the world heavyweight on Raw. Now the women's Intercontinental and the men's Intercontinental are going to stay on Raw, or they're going to switch over together. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be like these brand exclusive things, but now they're without the name. So I just think that's annoying. Cause it's like, I guess it makes sense right now to introduce it there, but now I don't see like now. It bothers me. I think the titles are always going to stay there now because I'm pretty sure in the last draft the championships were finally. Remember, I think the champions weren't eligible, right?
Yes.
Which I find funny because remember in like the early 2020s when Vince was still in control,
they would go back and forth.
Not only would the champions switch, but then remember the title swaps.
Yeah.
And like
they just like handing
literally
shaking hands and handing over the titles.
Yeah, like so,
I remember the women doing that.
Remember because Becky and Charlotte had issues, so there was like a little
bit
of heat in that segment. But yeah, so the like cool, I guess, but it just and AEW gets flack for too many belts. Like this does not. This feels like overkill.
That division's not deep enough.
And if you really want to go there, we also have the speed belts floating around.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
Nobody knows they exist.
Andrade and Candice LeRae.
Yeah, exactly. A guy we love praising another guy we grew to respect. Mello had some nice things to say about the nearly departed Baron Corbin, saying that he was one of the people that actually took a liking to me, took me under his wing. He did so much for me, helped me so much, gave me so much advice, not just wrestling, life advice, money advice, so many things. I'm forever indebted to Baron Corbin, super talented, and I hate to see him go. And it's nice to see Mello being classy because we really enjoy him, right? So even though he couldn't,
Corbin deserves some flowers for sure.
He does, and it's funny that we're saying that because I came from like really not much. You always kind of liked him.
I definitely like Lone Wolf Corbin. I don't think anyone really enjoyed Constable Corbin that much or King Corbin, but I always had some level of enjoyment of him.
I think people struggle to separate the guy from the gimmicks he was given, right? Like he doesn't decide what characters he's playing,
and he was given a lot of crap,
and he tried the hell out of everything, right? So I don't know. At the end of the day, I have respect for that.
Yeah.
I only have one other.
The last one I had was Moose winning the X Division title on TNA Impact, and then Trent Seven turning heel.
I I don't know, man. Bailey to me is like the perfect X Division champion, and I know he's not the most interesting outside the ring, so.
But the matches make up for it. And for me, Moose, it's like
and Moose is their franchise guy, so they're trying to do stuff with him.
Pad out the resume.
Yeah, exactly.
I do like them when they introduce the bigger guys to have the no limits thing, but honestly, based on the heel turn, I wish Bailey had won. Trent turns heel. Trent wins the X Division title because Trent's not a cruiserweighty guy, and I think he can still go. And it would be like Moose feels above the X Division title.
He does.
It just feels like an odd move.
And I know they're
just to keep gold in the system, I guess.
I know the tagline is it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits, but it pretty much is about weight limits. It's almost always smaller guys,
right? Or like
95.
Unless you have a guy like Josh Alexander, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was. Yep. So I didn't watch TNA this week, so that's your update from them.
Is that? I think that was the only notable thing. I saw Wendy Chu had a match with Rosemary, but I didn't.
That is not notable. How dare you?
No.
Last thing I have is Bruce Pritchard, Michael Hayes on temporary leave from WWE, and they are
didn't even know they were still there.
They're emphasizing that it isn't a changing of the guard. There's some sort of personal thing, and both will be back. But I really hope it is a changing of the guard because
we did finish the Vince doc, I guess.
We did. I think you should be getting rid of people who were more than likely. This is me speculating. I have no knowledge that they were aware of what was going on with 100%. Vince. So
Pritchard could go to Vince's whatever he's doing right now.
I can summarize the Vince documentary. Interesting. No new information for wrestling nerds like us. I didn't find.
But
and
some fun insights though. I enjoyed actually perspective.
Who comes off the best out of that whole thing? Tony Atlas.
Tony Atlas is awesome.
Tony, as you said, watching it, Tony Atlas is a real one. He was the only one that you felt like he wasn't worried about repercussions. He wasn't worried about getting back with WWE. He was like, this is the truth.
Yeah, he felt like he was being honest and just like, I really enjoyed just the transparency.
So straightforward and just, and the telling thing for me at the end was, I think it was
they're asking about Vince's legacy, right?
And no one wanted to answer because I think it's kind of up in the air. Like, you don't want to be on the wrong side of history and say amazing things about this guy, because I have a feeling, even though it was before everything came out, they know there's things.
Yeah, and then you also don't want to say amazing things because there's that, but you also don't want to say horrible things and get in shit with the company.
Because he made, like, all the people that support him are the ones he's made tens of millions of dollars. Yeah. So Cena loves him, Pritchard loves him, Undertaker loves him. All the people
Triple H,
who
I think,
made them tens of millions of dollars are big fans of him.
I'll say also even a bit of it made me feel a little bad for Shane because, like, definitely seemed
that
not
is
great
part
for
of
him.
Yes.
Like, I mean, I still don't like all the on-screen stuff he did in the last few years.
But even the performers are like, Stephanie is like Vince and Shane is actually a nice guy. So that's why he can't survive in this business, which is messed
kind
up,
of apt,
but true.
Though. And like, I still don't love the ego trip he had at the Rumble a couple years ago. But again, like, it did definitely give me some empathy for Shane.
Yes.
So that was kind of interesting. His dad is
a monster. What's it like to have a monster's father? Relatable.
But yeah, I think Tony Atlas is like my new favorite dude because
he was everything he said. It was just to the point and in his own little style.
If he could just like
he was super engaging,
unapologetically tell the whole story, I would believe him.
Just give me all of it from his perspective. Would be very fun.
Everything from Tony Atlas' perspective would be great.
I'm tapped out for news.
I agree.
All right, so we will move forward into our most in-depth review every week. It's taken a look at what I would say is our favorite show. Pretty much every week.
It's the only one I actually watch.
True. I sometimes like NXT, but rarely better. It is looking at this week's AEW Dynamite. All right, stop trying to pre-order figures and tell me about some AEW Dynamite.
There's another Switchblade and an Osprey. It's kind of necessary.
No. Dynamite started without the usual Moxley bit, eh?
Yeah, it was like not even a normal intro either. It was just like kind of like, oh, we're here.
And then, I thought they replaced one good faction with another to open the show.
Yeah. So we kick off with the Hurt Syndicate. They had a really killer entrance. I thought the theme sounded cool.
They look awesome.
Badass in suits, and Lashes and Shelty got shades. Like, they're just looking absolutely dapper.
They're giving you the Four Horsemen vibes of like, we're the suit wearing and
they're gonna murder
all
you.
About money, and so they're kind of giving off that energy, which I like.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that look, and just the presentation is definitely some star aura for Lashley. But even I thought Shelton was the coolest he's ever looked in his entire life.
And it helps that he's been built to be so strong since he came, right?
Yeah, so, even the loss I don't think is a huge deal.
No,
it's still not my preferred outcome, but it's not a huge deal. I agree. But yeah, MVP said this is an official announcement from the Hurt Syndicate. He introduced himself, then he talks up Benjamin's resume and Lash's. And he talked about Lashley had 19-0 in MMA. I don't know if that's true, but that's.
I mean, I don't know if he fought anybody of consequence to get that record, but
yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't fight him.
I know Hager was in Bellator, which is decently reputable, right?
Yeah, at some point it was. If it still exists, I don't even know.
MVP said their goal is to uplift others in the company. He said if you're offered their business card, that card can change your life if you accept, and if you reject, this is what happens. And then we get the video of last week's ending to Dynamite with Lashley debuting and taking out Swerve. MVP claimed they wanted to help Swerve, but Swerve wanted to make an enemy of them. Speak of the devil, he comes down, but he's kind of being held back by officials and Nana, and all he says is Bobby Lashley, full gear, and then MVP accepts the challenge on his behalf.
Yeah, I thought I really like this, and part of the reason I do is because who was Swerve just had a angle with it was bugging me, because it felt like it was somebody not in his league.
Christian?
Maybe. Anyways, that's what. No, I don't. That doesn't feel
not
right.
Ospreay, not Danielson.
No.
Not Hangman.
It was just after he lost the title. Who did he face?
Hangman.
Oh, no. That's not who I'm thinking of. Anyways.
It would have been Hangman, because remember Hangman was involved in the match.
It's not who I'm thinking of.
Then I don't know.
There was somebody I was like, why is Swerve, who was the face of the franchise and just came off the title, is facing this person?
Garcia?
Maybe.
Just seems like fitting, basically.
But anyways, part of the reason I like this is neither guy feels like they're reaching down for the other, you know what I mean? Swerve's a huge deal. Lashley already feels like a huge deal.
Swerve's an established huge deal for Lashley to reach at, and then Lashley's being presented as a big deal, so it feels on Swerve's level.
Yes, that's exactly what it is, because MVP and Shelton have been booked so strong, so then when they bring in another guy, you just sort of assume.
And I like this, because already, like, even though it is kind of a WWE idea, not really, even a TNA idea, but kind of a WWE idea.
That's fair. If you're going to give credit to another company, TNA did do it first.
A WWE idea that they threw away needlessly, so even if it's not entirely original, I think it's worth exploring for them, and it can be original, because, like I said, if they take it far as it should go, it will be sick.
Because the first time Lashley was really cool for me was when he was doing that in TNA. So it is kind of interesting because we get to see how 3 different companies handle essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
And
clearly it's a good idea if it keeps going, it keeps happening.
WWE handled it well, other than stopping it too soon and kind of for no reason, I would say.
Yeah, I think one of them told the story, it might have been Shelton. But I don't remember who. These, like, Vince said it just wasn't like working or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
which
couldn't not be more true. I don't remember if I'm telling the story right. But
well, Vince is a racist, so he may not enjoy a group of strong black guys getting over.
I'm surprised that was even put together in the first place then.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying that as an opinion. I don't even think at this point. But I also like the decision to really not have Swerve say anything. I think you give MVP
I like his
that
anger
chance.
here, and it kind of
his mean mug is great, and let MVP cook, and we don't need to get back and forth right now. Just let us marinate in MVP doing what he did, and so I quite liked it. My only question, general question to you is: are there too many stables in AEW? There's a
little bit,
right?
But then you would think that would create a better trios division.
I mean, the potential is there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of stables, and this is another one, but this one seems.
I feel like we got a good returnee to form a trio with them if they wanted to.
This one seems pretty cool.
Imagine Hobbs and them as just like that absolutely beefed trio.
That'd be crazy.
But I thought it was a really strong intro for the Syndicate, though. The entrance in MVP's intro, talking up both guys, was a really great way to present them, and they just looked cool visually in the suits, and they just looked badass. I like that MVP did all the talking, as it's never been a strength of either Shelty or Lash's. So they just got to stand there and look cool, and they looked cool.
They do.
I enjoyed Swerve as well, like you said. I like that all he had to do was make the challenge, and he sold how angry he was last week, and he just cut straight to the point. And it makes sense to save Lash's debut for pay-per-view. He's a big guy.
I just hope the match is good.
I hope it's good. Swerve's a guy that can make him look good, though. So
and
I'm looking forward to it.
Lashley's not terrible. I'm not saying he's terrible.
He's just not as much of the style.
Yes.
Here. So it'll be interesting.
He's kind of like he'll be like their Lesnar style. Come in and like lots of throws and suplexes and stuff
that could work.
Which can work. I don't mind that.
And he's probably a better person, so that works.
He would almost have to be.
Yeah. Also for the Vince doc, at least, that was the first time I think Brock Lesnar's been mentioned by name in this
whole
court issue, because it was always former WWE star that they were looking to resign, and just the timeline and description perfectly matched up.
Didn't it also say like former MMA champion or something?
It was something like that. Like it made it painfully obvious it was Lesnar, but like this is the first time he was outright named in this, so I thought that was interesting, but I just remember that kind of now. Anyways, I love this trio so far, but I definitely hope the Syndicate expands. I would love to see Hobbs in there.
I think they need one or two more. I would like to see Athena. Would be my and again, I'm only lumping other Black Stars in there because they've made it clear
seems like the concept of the group. And I don't have a problem with that. It's just a trope in wrestling that we like to poke fun at.
So then Aminata might be cool too, because she works a pretty like forceful style, right? So I think she would fit in maybe better.
I do kind of wish Cargill was still here, because then her and Lashley as a duo would be like pretty crazy in there.
Especially if they're like she's money, right?
Yeah, just visually speaking, that'd be great. I don't think she's great as a wrestler, but
clearly
if they could sign Belair
would be amazing.
If they could have done Belair in the Hurt Business, that would have been sick.
Yeah, because if you really let her go heel and like go attitude,
because I think she's a really good inspirational babyface, and I like her as like regardless. But heel EST just being cocky would be so good.
My new top pick might be Jada Parker. She would be perfect.
She could fit that. That would be cool.
Yes. But anyways, wrong company. So.
And then what were we saying? I don't remember, but like Baszler instead of Shafir in the Death Riders.
Yes.
That would be amazing, because I love Shafir in the role, but Baszler would be like...
Because then when you start to put her in matches, she also looks awesome, whereas Shafir, I mean,
I don't know. I still don't want them to.
We've heavily disliked her in ring before.
And I love her right now.
Right.
So, like, even this week, I love everything she does, which is crazy.
The kick could have been stronger to the ref.
I just still think it was funny.
It did make me laugh.
That is true. But anyways, this was a strong start. Then we get a Cassie promo package. It was mostly sound bites from last week and maybe Collision, but
yeah, I don't think there was anything new here.
I don't watch Collision.
No.
These are spliced together with clips
highlighting I checked the lineup
so far.
For Collision. It looks weak.
Sometimes they have too many squash.
I think there was one. I think Beast Mordos and Roddy. That's I think the only thing that I was kind of like. That's.
I think one of the matches was Outrunners and
there's Andretti and somebody.
Top Flight.
There was like couple enhancement sounding people.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I always say like I want to have to go watch it, but like at least there's something.
I cherry pick
there
it
should be something
if I hear people I trust say there's good stuff.
Yeah, like I always don't want there to be stuff that I'm missing, but at the same time you got to make me want to watch it at least, I feel like. So they need to do that. But solid package to recap last week and sum up for anyone who's been absent so far, but it doesn't really serve much of a purpose for me.
No, me either.
Good
it was
package,
just
though.
A rewind. We'd already seen it.
Yeah, so then we get Cassie and Darby Allin, a.k.a. the Ultimate Ragdoll Squad, against Claudio Castagnoli and Pac. I would just like to say I really love the contrast of theme songs here. I thought Claudio's theme is just so dramatic and epic. I really enjoy it. Like it kind of fits the vibe of this new group to me. Like it sounds dramatic, epic, and like kind of like dramatic in like a fearful way.
Ominous.
It's ominous. It feels fitting of like a final boss villain. So I think it kind of fits this new heel group. And so I really like that. And then you have Cassidy walking out to Where Is My Mind?
Yeah.
So I just thought the contrast there was kind of amusing. And then the Trons finally brand them officially as the Death Riders.
Yeah. Without a Z, they really missed a shot to make it cooler.
I think that'd be cool.
90s wrestling fan.
Dare I say we go Riders with a U, so it's like Riders?
Maybe two Zs even, if you want to go crazy.
Let's not get crazy now, right?
And part of me wants to say, like, Cassidy's dumb for taking this match ahead of Full Gear, and Shivani said something about it too, but this is Orange Cassidy and what he does. He doesn't...
You could argue that for like half of his title run.
He has a long history of not taking matches he shouldn't take because he's injured or whatever,
and
right?
I think even you could argue if he wants to take down... Not Blackpool, I guess. I'll call him Blackpool sometimes probably. But if he wants to take down Death Riders, might as well go for as many of them as possible. And they made a point that I kind of forgot. He has a lot of history with Pac. So there's also that. Anyway, some notables from the match. Cassidy, so yeah, he's standing at the entranceway, and so Claudio and Pac are like, all right, we'll go get him. But Darby appears and jumps off the entrance tunnel onto them. Diving DT from Cassidy, and Pac sells it like he always does.
Unbelievable.
Absolute mad lad. Claudio misses a corner move, collides with the ring post. Cassie's able to make the hot tag out to Darby, and he goes on a flurry. Claudio with a giant back body drop to Darby for 2. Claudio caught Darby from a dive into a crazy backbreaker, like caught him kind of down, powers him up into a backbreaker. Like Claudio is just a freak.
And then the way he can he
does it effortlessly
and
too.
It looks like he's actually bending his back across his knee too.
He just does it so like we always talk about how Ospreay never messes anything up doing crazy stuff, but Claudio's the exact same way, just with power spots.
Like just deadlifting. They're not
with
like
ease.
He does so many things where the other guy isn't helping him at all. That makes it impressive.
Like, remember there was that one spot in NXT UK, I think it was with someone in Dar, but remember he was like, oh, it was Kemp, and remember he's doing like the gut wrench and like back and forth. It was basically just Dar jumping back and forth. And like Claudio would just do it straight up.
Like the other guy doesn't touch the ground.
Yeah, like Claudio is absolutely insane.
He is.
We always say like it's kind of nice to see like when they kind of botch the strength but recover because it's realistic. But Claudio just makes it look like I could do it.
Yeah,
like, he's just an absolute freak of nature, and he always deserves some props for that. Corner flurry from the Death Riders to Darby, and Pac falls with a brainbuster for 2. Pac nails Darby with an avalanche brainbuster for 2. Cassie
looked awesome
in there. He always does that perfectly too. Like it should be highly dangerous, but he nails it. Cassie and Darby hit a Stung Dog Millionaire Code Red combo to Claudio. Cassie hits a suicide dive for both Death Rider boys. Tilt-a-whirl DDT absolutely murders Pac. I don't understand I don't get it. The finish comes and Yuta comes into the ring and gets taken with an orange punch. Shafir walks in and just kicks the ref out of the ring, which is kind of funny.
And she now has a briefcase,
which is said to have the title in it,
handcuffed to her wrist, which is cool.
Kind of like that. Like Moxley's in AEW's current state is ashamed to carry the title around, but also keeps it on lock. So I like that. I wonder if he has side plates because
we'll never know.
No, I did see at live events now they sell a new version of the replica belt where it has removable side plates, and then they're also selling a set of Danielson side plates.
And it creates a believable weapon for her to use, I'm sure, as well.
That's true. She did try to here later on. Moxley comes and gets taken up by a skateboard wheeling Darby. Brawl breaks down, and the match gets thrown out, so I guess it's a no contest. Darby's on a roll, taking everybody out, but after ducking a briefcase shot from Shafir, gets absolutely decked with an uppercut from Claudio, and then he gets him in a military press and just hucks him into the ring post, and he splats on the ground hard. Like, it's one of those times where it's so visceral, I giggle, because it's just...
Yeah, we both got a reaction out of both.
Like, absolutely chucked into there. But Psycho needed Cassie from Yuta, and then the conglomeration run out, and Death Riders evacuate.
Retreating because of the conglomeration showing up. Well, I think it's more like they've done what they wanted to do, right? So
and the conglomeration. Well, actually, it's proven they can hoard off large sums of people. So
this was a really good tag team match, even with the ending, which I think honestly makes sense because I don't think you want either team taking a loss. Death Riders can't take a loss.
I was saying, given how the Death Riders angle works and how the chaos they ensue. Normally, I don't like DQ finishes or anything like that in AEW, but I think it works here, and I think it kind of serves a purpose.
It does, and plus, you gave me whatever 2/3, 3/4 was a pretty awesome tag match, and then even the beatdown after, Claudio made
Darby
that
got murdered.
Claudio made that memorable for me too, so I liked both of it. And then you have the continuing story of Wheeler Yuta, I still find really interesting. So I thought there was a lot to like.
He's kind of like the Jey Uso, if you want to compare this to Bloodline. I think that's really key because when Jey Uso was serious, he was a really good character. Yeah, I'll talk about that later.
A lot to like in this match and post-match shenanigans.
Yeah, for sure. It was a fun match to open the show, and it was as good as I expected. I really enjoyed it. And given that one team was Darby and Cassie, you knew it would be largely one-sided, but Pac and Claudio are killers, so it was awesome. They got some fun flurries in here, and Pac sold his heart out with those DDTs. Overall, this is good, and I forgot about the history and chemistry between Pac and Cassie. Like, I would really like to get that match in the run-up to Cassie versus Mox. Even if Pac has to lose, I think that's okay. I would just like to see them.
I just want more Pac on my screen. I don't care.
I'm saying Pac versus Cassie in the run-up. I think that'd be great. You could have Cassie run the gauntlet up to Mox, like have him beat Yuta, beat Claudio. He maybe doesn't have to beat them. You can lose by shenanigans too. That's okay. I just want him to kind of run the gauntlet. And then it's that story again
of he's done too much leading up to facing.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of cool. So I like that. And like I said, the usually finishes like this bother me, but I think given how Mox's group operates and the chaos, like I just think it kind of works. And like you said, it protects both groups, which I think is kind of key here.
I think you had to here.
I think it kind of works. While Cassie and Darby are always great fall guys and always like, oh, they don't need a loss, I feel like that kind of changes in this kind of angle.
Yeah.
And especially as I believe Darby to be the one.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't.
I'm fairly confident in that.
I've almost got near certainty. I would say. I saw Officer Wrestling post saying who you think the next few champions was, and someone posted Darby Switchblade Ospreay, and that's almost exactly what I would want. So I'm saying Darby wins it soon. I guess not. I was gonna say Switchblade could win in Australia.
But he's a face, so
my bad.
He needs a heel turn first.
Easy. You could turn him heel whenever. I think
I would love that.
Him as a babyface is weird. Not bad. Weird. So he could just turn heel whenever, and then Ospreay beats him maybe at next year's All In. I don't know. Is that too far? I don't even know.
You're the one who would know that. I don't know.
No, because All In's not even in London next year.
Where is it?
It's a Texas one. It's in July.
You want to go?
Yeah.
Just kidding. No shot.
But anyways, so that's kind of what I want to go. But so I kind of also liked in the post match that even though he got murderized after, I liked that Darby was kind of able to take on the Death Riders for a while and counter the odds with the weapon, and he was rolling because I kind of like it shows that he's capable of taking them on, and kind of for me serves as an omen of things to come. That is, he's the one to beat Mox. Like we have this history of he's able to kind of combat them, maybe not all by himself, but he's proven that he can hold his own. And
that's right.
He's capable of doing this, right? And so I hope maybe next week that because of his involvement here, him fighting back so well against them and helping Cassie, that they beat the crap out of him and write him off for a couple of weeks. Then he's shaken and questions if it's worth it. Maybe hangs in the rafters like Sting for a bit, and then he comes in when the time is right. Like I'm saying, you book it like Sting. I think it could work really well.
And if they were doing that, then they either, I feel like if this is it, they pulled the trigger too fast on the Sting descending from the roof with Darby. That yes, they need to.
They've done it a couple times, but I think you could like hold it off now and really build to it as a moment. Because I think Darby is the Sting of this story, and I mean that too, as a compliment this time, not as old man Sting, who I loathe with a passion.
He was cool back then. I still never thought he was never my favorite, but
I don't think he ever would be.
Because he was just too much of a constant main eventer, and those guys just ended up bugging me after a while. He wasn't like Hogan, though. I was always mid-card, upper mid-card. That kind of was my wheelhouse.
I think WCW conditioned you that way.
Even watching Halloween Havoc 98 today, because as one does, right? Watching like Jericho taking on Raven is cool, and watching Saturn destroy Lodi was cool.
But then this is the show with Warrior versus Hogan.
And then it was Wrath and Meng had a match. So a couple of big boys, boss fight. But anyways, carry on.
Good match to start, good opener, quality.
Yep, agree.
Ricochet interview, they're letting him talk again. He talks to Renee about how he can pick anyone on the roster. That is how picking things works, sir. Basically, everyone has a problem with the Callis family, but he says he's keeping his partner under wraps until the main event. Hurts him to get come up, and Ricochet says to MVP that they talked already. MVP says they did, but they just want to, quote, wish him good luck, and Lashley likes his tie.
I actually thought Ricochet did a good job of coming across a tiny bit nervous being surrounded by those three.
Yeah, but like just a little trying to maintain composure.
Right, and that I like their perpetual recruitment and the fact that it's now.
I thought Lashley commenting on his tie amused me. Like it was like this subtle intimidation, but like
exactly
a compliment.
So now their recruitment is accompanied with intimidation. Whereas if they invite you and you turn them down, you need to sort of watch your back, sort of thing.
And Ricochet hasn't turned them down, but he's like also hasn't said yes. So hence like this intimidation, but they don't touch him yet.
So how long do you think they drag this out before they add somebody? I don't want them to start going crazy, but I think they need.
I think I could see like maybe
to me a tag team would be an ideal fit.
I feel like you add someone at Full Gear. Maybe Lashley beats Swerve and someone could maybe cost Swerve the match.
And it would be like, I don't know, Private Party would be kind of cool to be champions and try something new.
I don't want that because it's proven in the past they didn't really work as heels, and I think we just kind of had tyrannical heel champions in the Bucks, so I think the timing isn't good for them.
Top Flight?
I thought Dante was kind of white though.
No, I don't.
The Acclaimed, dude.
Yeah.
Heel caster raps. We need to bring that back.
That would be fun.
We need to bring that back. I don't want them to split either. I want both of them because.
Yeah, I enjoy Bowens quite a bit, and I don't know what he'd do singles. I feel like he'd get lost in the shuffle.
Because I think he's good, but I don't think he's good enough to really survive. There's not a lot of tag teams where. I think Aussie Open was a special case where I think Fletcher will clearly thrive on his own. Davis, I don't know. I'm still waiting on that reunion. Even FTR, I don't know how. I could see Dax doing well for himself.
There's a ceiling, though, I think.
I think so, but I feel like he could do well for himself.
Yeah.
Then we get the Conglomeration versus Luring Tree in a fight without honor, which is just a Ring of Honor street fight.
Right.
Because, again, why do it on Ring of Honor when you can do it on not Ring of Honor?
You got to get that Jericho everywhere. They got that big TV deal, though, Ring of Honor now. So.
Supposedly. Where have I heard that before?
By big, I mean not big, probably.
Or
but
non-existent?
Something. No, I think it's happening.
Sure. That's what I was told before. And then it's like, oh, hey, watch us on an app.
True.
Or whatever. Pay us for something. That's what it was. Briscoe hit a dropkick through the ropes to Jericho, right into a back suplex from Ishii through a table. Briscoe runs along the apron, steps off a chair, dive over the buckles on the Big Bill. Kyle O'Reilly and Keith find the apron, and they like simultaneously crash through a table, which reminded me of, like, the final spot.
That was a pretty contrived looking.
Dumb, just the way they both went through it.
Yeah, that wasn't my favorite spot.
It reminded me of the end spot of Cole Gargano 3 when they fly off the cage through the table, the one we were there for.
Mm-hmm. There was cool stuff in this. I did not think that was an example.
No. Briscoe props up a ladder against the barricade, and the Bill hits a killer chokeslam through it. That looked awesome.
That was one of the spots I was referring to.
Bill with a black hole slam to Kyle O'Reilly. His black hole slam's awesome, I think. I still remember the spot from the match again when he and Starks lost to Sting and Darby, where Darby went for the suicide dive and went perfectly into a black hole slam
on the floor.
That looked awesome.
Yeah. I think Bill's offense looks really cool. It's his selling and stuff that I think are not.
Yeah,
great.
That's fair. I think he's got some really cool offense.
He does.
For sure. And I've always kind of taken a liking to him. Like, I enjoyed him.
I think we just need to admit he is a good tag team wrestler.
He is. He was always my preferred half of him and Enzo.
Do I want an 18-minute singles match with Big Bill? No, but
I'm saying him and Starks was good, or like,
yes,
put him with a better part. I'm not saying Keith is a bad wrestler, just I don't think he's the one to gel with Bill, and then also the character is just not there for me.
It is not.
But yeah, Bill's a solid big man, so I kind of enjoy him. The Conglomeration boys hit Bill with a series of strikes, then Kyle O'Reilly and Ishii hit him with total elimination. Jericho gets ping pong between chops from Ishii and Briscoe. O'Reilly has Bill in a guillotine atop some road cases. They went like through the crowd, and then they're like backstage or something.
Mm-hmm.
They crash through some tables, and they're basically written off.
Yep.
Mark hits a J Joel to Jericho. He nails a froggy bow from the top of the ladder through a table.
That looked really good. Yeah.
Really good table break. Keith broke the pin at the last minute. Ishii beat Jericho with a brainbuster.
I hear people were like, that finish was predictable. I was a little surprised, but I guess it's because Ishii's good challenging.
I was slightly surprised, but I'm not really surprised given that Ishii came out after Jericho won the title, so it's been kind of set up that this was the match.
Right.
And it feels like the only reason that, like, I feel like in any other instance, Ishii would have taken it to its effect and eaten the pin.
Agree.
So.
Yeah, chaotic match.
I don't like this group or care about the story, but I thought the match was pretty enjoyable.
Too. I agree, and I think to nitpick, the only thing I might have put some distance between this and the Death Riders post-match beatdown, the tone was kind of similar. But anyways.
That's fair. Will Washington.
Good plunder match. The crowd seemed to be into it. I thought Bill looked like a beast in stretches. And again, I think he's just in these matches where he doesn't have to do everything. He's awesome to come in, and he's a physical specimen, right? So
Big Bill
it's believable
awesome.
That when...
And again, just reminding me of what, like, he kind of had to deal with. I'm glad he's in a good place and, like,
for sure,
looking good. So I always enjoyed him a little bit, you know?
Yep. And I guess this is positioning Ishii as a legit contender, right? For the ROH title. I thought a good...
Yeah, because the ROH title needs legit contenders. It's worth so much.
A good no DQ trios match that I would agree, it kind of over-delivered for me. I had fun watching it.
Yeah, it's mostly solid group of guys. I would probably excuse Jericho and, no offense, kind of Ishii.
Mm-hmm.
At this day and age. But it's a multi-man no DQ match, so how bad can it be? It was a spot fest at times, but a fun one. Briscoe's involved in the majority of the big spots, so I think he definitely deserves the proverbial MVP award. Ishii getting the win is odd, but clearly just to set up him being next for Jericho, opposed to them running it back with Briscoe already. And again, it feels like a step back from the title matches between Jericho and Briscoe, like, just in terms of this should have come first.
Yeah.
If anything.
I think so.
Like I feel like we could have done... If you really wanted to do that, like, I don't think this should have come before the first match. Like, I think we should have done first match, right? At Wrestle Dream. Then you do this, and Jericho, I would say, pins Briscoe to set up the rematch. Then it's not just Jericho wants a rematch. Briscoe's like, oh, okay. Then there would be a bit of a reason for the ladder match, and then Jericho can win the ladder match if that's the way it goes. Like,
say my brother's name one more time.
That's basically what it was, right? So
both,
at least, like,
every time.
How about
all three times?
Literally all three times. Which I get it, but like, so that could have been set up for the first match, right? And then my favorite thing is I watch this guy, the Goldman. I love his channel. But one of the things I like is that if a movie is bad, a lot of times he'll rewrite it.
Yeah.
And I like that because, like, it's not just the rage bait where you're just crapping on a movie because it sucks. Like, he'll say why it sucks, but then also kind of try to make it better. And it's always kind of interesting, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking here is, like, you do the first match in the build-up. Because remember, there was that one segment and Jericho was a little more serious when he was mentioning Jay the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, it was actually decent.
Yeah.
So you do the Wrestle Dream match, and then you have Jericho mention Jay again, because sure, that's the way that he keeps Briscoe angry at him and keeps his chance at the title, right? But then instead of doing the title match first, you have Briscoe be like, all right, we're all going to kick your asses. You do this match. then Jericho gets the win like Ishii did here, and that earns Jericho a rematch. Then he can win the title there. At least then I feel like that makes more sense in the order. So it's not like we're doing this backwards trip thing. At least then it's like this match is setting up another singles match instead of coming like after two singles
title
matches.
Now a tag match.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's really, I put more care into this than is necessary. But that's that. I don't understand what the end goal is here. I highly doubt Jericho will do any wonders for ROH because what? And then the babyface triumph here is what? Mark winning the title back. But then, like we say, he'd be no better off. The best case scenario is him being where he started. That's how Jericho feuds work in this day and age.
That is correct. That's your best case scenario.
Jericho needs to go. This doesn't work. This isn't good.
I agree.
We need to stop.
We do, but they're not going to.
We get Death Riders promo. They're walking backstage. Moxley stops Yuta, and so he talks to the camera saying Yuta doesn't know Cassie anything, whether they were friends or he lived on his couch, whatever. Moxley said being a nice guy doesn't buy loyalty because only a cause buys loyalty. He says Yuta doesn't belong to anybody, and he's not anyone's friend. He's a soldier under his command. He called Darby a disappointment, and he told people to stop playing at the thing that they want others to think that they take seriously.
I really liked the soldier analogy because
I like that, and like
soldiers are committed to something and are asked often to do things they really don't want to do, and that may even traumatize themselves.
And it fits the motif of this being a cause for Moxley.
Yes,
and like kind of like even Moxley said it's not necessarily what he wants to, but what he feels is necessary, right? So I think it really fits that. The verbiage I just really like, and that's something I really enjoy with Pac, right, is the way he phrases things. So I thought Moxley's phrasing here was really great.
And I like it, and I don't even care if it ever leads to Yuta turning on the group. I don't care if he stays in this role of he's the soldier.
I think it makes more sense for him to stay because he believes in the cause,
He's the rank and file soldier, and they're, higher rank than him, and that's just how the military is. You're going to do stuff that you may struggle with doing, and you may be traumatized afterward. Because
you believe you have to.
But you have committed to this, and you believe in the cause. So I like that analogy.
And I also like the mention of Darby being disappointing. Again, I hope they go with the route I suggested, because I think that's the perfect way to go, especially because Darby has to be the one, and I think that's the best way to go about it.
I agree.
Then we go to Adam Cole versus Malachi Black, and I just want to know, Malachi's entrance was so cool. I just love it so much.
It's almost like he's so cool and different that companies don't know what to do with him.
I feel like they don't, because he's always had a good entrance.
Because it's such a different NXT one tone from everything else, and it's just I don't know how they don't know how to make room for it.
And I love his theme too, because I just think the guitar and the ominous whatever it was, but I think this one is a good. I'm not disappointed with it, you know what I mean? I always really like it, because I feel like the House of Black theme, or the Kings of the Black Throne theme, or the Brody King theme, they're cool, but they just sound like, it's just all metal music to me. Like, this one I can actually distinguish as sounding cool, and maybe that's also because it came first, right? Because he was on his own for a while.
That's right.
But I think it sounds a lot cooler, and I love the simple effect of, lights out, and he is appearing in a different spot. You know what I mean? He's at the entranceway, lights out, he's on the turnbuckles.
He could swap in a handshake with you. You never, last week where he's suddenly shaking your hand.
I just really love his entrance, and I like the lighting on the crowd. Remember?
Too bad his finisher doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, remember when they used to do the house rules matches and they had the cool lighting on the crowd?
Yes, I just really like
it. So he is,
and then that just died.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Weird.
He is in contention. He doesn't have a hope of winning when Bang Bang Gang exists, but he's in contention for entrance, my favorite entrance of the year, just on a general basis, because I think his entrance is awesome.
Speaking of which, Zarya's is cool. And now I have done this thing where I've called her the wrong name on purpose. Was it? Zarya.
Oh.
And now I have to focus to not say
it's
the wrong
not
one.
like Sabre, where it's been long enough where it's established, we know what his name is, and we do it as a joke.
I'm confused. I've confused myself.
You confused yourself too soon.
Right.
You haven't had enough time to settle into Zarya.
Where
now it's I think I used to also confuse you when Saray was coming from being Sari elsewhere.
So what I'm telling myself is it's not the one that sounds like Maria. So not Zarya. That's how I'm trying to keep it straight.
It funnier
because I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I've made a joke of it, and it was too soon, and now I'm confused.
Speaking of entrance, I actually did see, because the Blood Money happened to be on, seeing the Metaphor entrance, even though it was just the women in the big Saudi arena, was kind of cool, just to see it on a big stage. So I thought that was kind of nice for them.
I feel like they're getting called up too soon. Jakara Jackson, I don't even know if she can do anything.
Because they want Lash.
She reminds me of B-Fab. Maybe not quite. B-Fab is something else.
That's not good. They just want Lash.
She's the one that blows up that everyone on main roster makes $350,000. There's no way. There's no
Maxine. Way. Although Maxine, I feel like is notable
on
enough
TV all
like,
the time at least.
That's true. Wait. Okay, off the top of your head.
Whoa.
Like
gimmick infringement.
I'm not even sure. Like, who's someone else who you think like challenges that notion? If like I can think of anyone, because on. Like,
so I would say recently released Tegan Nox.
Tegan Nox, yeah. Who else was released besides her and Corbin? It was them and crap. Okay,
another woman, wasn't it?
It was.
Indy.
Oh, you're right. There's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I would even go so as far as argue Candice LeRae. Just even though she's won the speed title, realistically, she hasn't been used that much. Like that one's kind of challenges it for me. Or like someone like.
I mean, this is going to be a hot take probably, but Natalya.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like the seniority earns the pay, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I feel like that's just the logic there. So
some might say someone like Garza, and even though I like him,
here's one I was thinking, because I was thinking like some of the Final Testament guys are notable enough, but Paul Ellering specifically, because that's why crazy. Is that group of 2 managers?
He might be on a Legends deal.
That's true.
Remember I said there's a new one. It's not Legends now. It's a nostalgia contract or something.
That's a good way to put it.
I think it's basically like, you're not a legend, right? Like
I think Ellering deserves to be a legend.
You were here a long time ago, but you're not a legend.
Yeah, but like, cause the group has 2 managers, and I think Cross does most of the speaking anyways. So it begs the question, why?
Yeah,
which I think is the epitome of like, then what are you doing to earn your pay?
For example, Victoria is on a nostalgic contract.
I feel like she deserves to be a legend.
She's
that pretty well renowned.
Allows the company to use her likeness for merchandise, action figures, video games. So it says formerly known as Legends deal.
I guess it's like you're saying, just so they can come as everyone.
It's a wider net to be like, because you can't be like, legend, really?
Legend.
Nunzio? You know, like timely reference.
Then you could also argue like someone like Jonathan Coachman could be
right.
Nostalgia. A legend.
You used to be here, so maybe somebody.
I would love to know though who is nostalgia for someone like Coach though.
Not me.
Just I would love to know. Anyways, I think this is an off topic. But
sorry, digressions happen.
A little bit. We haven't even started talking about the mat.
Go ahead.
I don't even know how we ended up there. I'm genuinely confused.
I never know how we end up anywhere.
Black came off the apron going for a knee, but Cole caught him pretty perfect with a super kick. I thought that looked really cool. Cole's been nailing super kicks lately. A lot of them, but they look good, so it's hard to complain.
Yep.
It's not like the Usos where I feel like they just kind of throw their legs
and they don't do anything else.
Specifically, Jay.
If it's part of your varied offense, that's fine. If it is your offense,
I will praise Jay this week.
That's fine.
I will praise him.
That's good. Hey, credit where credit is due with us.
He used to not suck.
We're neither marks nor whatever the opposite of that is, when you just hate things for the sake of hating them. Or for the sake of like your tribalism.
Yeah, I don't know what it would be like, cause Mark is that end of the spectrum.
Anti-Mark.
I guess I don't know. He used to not suck and he used to not yeet. There is a correlation.
Right. No yeet.
That's dumb. Like,
yeah, I agree.
They got a new shirt because last week Roman said yeet and everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah, I heard.
He's got a shirt, so it's like the OTC, and there's
I actually was spoiled on that because it was recorded.
There's a little speech bubble and it says yeet here, and I'm just like, oh great, that's nice.
So cool.
I love that like on the PLE, there's like you got Roman and Jimmy. Jimmy's even got like tights with Bloodline text on it, so it's like almost lost it again. But like then Jay's in like these like blue and white colors. It's like he did not dress with them, or like he still got Yeet shirts, but now it's like a red one, so it's Bloodlines. Like
so cool.
It is
back something. To this match again.
Yeah. Jesus. Cole fires off a super kick. Black fires back with like a cool kind of step up roundhouse from the corner. Cole comes back with a Patel drop brainbuster, or the sushi garoshi, as right. We've dubbed it.
Poison Ron, I think I stole that from.
Oh. Well, no, I don't want to give you
credit. Shout out to anything. Brandon Davey.
You don't get credit for anything then. Cole goes for the last shot, but Black pops him with the black mask for a near fall. Dumb. I also find it funny I used the NXT names for both their moves.
Braden, not Brendan. Wow, I've met the guy many times. I've bought him drinks a few times. It's Braden.
I also don't love the name The End. It just feels kind of nah.
Tommy End.
Also inaccurate here.
That is true.
So I legitimately can't remember a time.
I don't think anyone has.
For sure not in AEW. I feel like because it's.
I think this is it.
I genuinely can't remember, which is crazy. I can't wait for the day of the 1-winged angel gets kicked out of though. Like legitimately. because not since Ibushi. But are you Googling?
I'm trying
it?
to
Are you
see.
gonna? Okay, I'll be surprised if you can find it. Panama Ryan's and a couple more super kicks from Cole. Black sits up and he's like basically like end it or something. It was weird. Then Cole hits the last shot for the win. Handshake, hug after match. Cole grabs the mic and asks who's ready for story time, baby. He says Black's one of the best he's fought in his career and thanks him. And Black looks back as the crowd as they cheer for him. Very weird.
Mm-hmm.
Cole says he wants to talk to MJF and he mentions he only has one more win to go. He says Roddy needs 2 more. They'll both win those matches. He says MJF thinks he put roadblocks in front of them, but what if they both get 3 wins? And he says he talked to TK, who says if they both get 3 wins, they get 3-way at Full Gear. MJF, cut to him on the screen. He's mad. He makes a call. He says someone needs to pay someone a visit.
So, was this a farewell? If not, what was it?
I don't know.
Because it was if it's one thing if he just like shook his hand at the end, but he like
Murphy
goes
did
over,
last
says a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
Is he dying?
Careful. So the match for me was a mixed bag. I thought there were stretches that were good, but there were stretches I kind of found slow.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought I was a little underwhelmed, just because maybe I built it up on the back of their NXT chemistry. But I liked Cole and Murphy a lot more.
Plus, this whole like, I know we've talked about it, but Adam Cole was the devil, and now because Buddy Murphy or whatever they said they want to prove he's fragile. Now he's this like resilient baby face.
Also,
and it's just
because MJF's a heel, like it does.
There is no connection here. But anyways,
on the surface, he's a good baby face, right? Like he can do it, but it's
not
just,
in context.
Absolutely.
Black is really cool, but the treatment they've given him makes him a little bit less interesting to me.
I miss the days when he was murdering Cody and the one time he kneed him and then Cody like flew off the turnbuckles through the table. Remember Cody's like standing on the corner and he knees him and Cody just decides to go flying through the timekeeper's table. That was awesome.
So yeah, I did not like this match as much as last week at all. Underwhelming is fair to me. I thought there were stretches
it wasn't
that
bad,
were
it just didn't feel there.
Right. Mediocre match. And then more talk about a feud afterwards that I don't really care about, and they can't make me care about, even though they keep trying.
They can't. They genuinely can't.
So I put this as kind of like the first miss of this show for me. Everything up to this I thought was cool.
For sure. I think Black's great. He's unique, and I always love him. Black Mass is dope, but I was not a fan of the kick out. It felt like a move that was always definitive, and I like that. Still looks great.
And
always
that's
looks
another
killer.
Almost like on your way out, your finisher that's been ultra protected.
It feels so wasted because there's no feud here.
I know.
So it's like, it just kind of sucks either way. The finish and post-match was odd to me with Black accepting defeat and then the post-match with Cole praising him. And the way he walked out made it seem if he's retired or like he's lost his retirement match. I hope it's not the case. I hope he's not leaving because I don't.
Back to NXT, I'd be cool with.
I feel like he doesn't fit in the NXT anymore.
He doesn't fit anywhere.
But
that's what part of the problem. Where does he fit?
Main roster they can do him, but like I'm just saying NXT, like it's not like it's still black and gold. Like, he could go back to that.
They'll put him in the Wyatts or something. They bring him back.
Have him feud with the Wyatts.
Maybe.
Actually,
Spooky versus Spooky.
I don't know if I want that. And then they kind of showed us their hand because as if we're not getting a 3-way. Like,
I think so too.
And then if you're Cole and Roddy though,
I feel like one of the commentators actually said something about it. I think they said the word 3-way somewhere.
Cole said they would be a 3-way if they get the match.
Is that what it was? I think commentary
Cole
said something that was...
Like, that's what I'm saying.
Anyways.
But if you're Cole and Roddy, though, let's add another logic plot hole here. If you're really that set on getting payback on MJF, why wouldn't you have asked for a handicap match?
Right.
Like, that's just begging for you two to fight eventually. Like, why wouldn't you ask for that? And then maybe then Tony Khan doesn't give it to them, but... Like, why wouldn't you try to get a handicap match?
I hate that we put this much thought into this and try and piece it back together for them.
I'm not even trying to piece it together. Oh, I guess I am there. But, like, a lot of the time, I'm just crapping on it.
Yes.
I've heard speculation of the UK turning on Cole, and it seems like a MacGuffin to get to that. Because I would much prefer if they ousted OGK and Kyle O'Reilly joined Roddy and Cole, because I'm just going to throw that out there until it's impossible. But, like, Roddy and OGK turn on them, and then, like, do they join MJF? Because that would just make the least amount of sense of anything that's ever happened.
I mean, we're on that path of not making sense.
But just stop. Again, that we had such a good opportunity to quit while we were ahead.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I would have much preferred if we had ignored all this and then Cole is a babyface. And why don't we have a pay-per-view match with Malachi Black? Like,
No.
you could still have the Murphy match, and it'd be cool. Then you could build to a sick pay-per-view match with Malachi. And if that's his farewell, great. He went out on top at a pay-per-view.
Nope, not doing it.
Like, dude, this is the third time this show I've been rebooking things for them.
You have.
Like, get my number, dude.
Send us an email.
I'll
put you into contact with him.
Yeah, hit me up, Will Washington. I'm your guy. I will. You know how they were saying Pritchard, he's not passing the torch or whatever? Will Washington, when it's time to pass the torch,
continuity
come
guy.
get me. I'm curious to see who MJF's calling. I guess we see later. My initial thought, or more so Warrior, was Wardlow, even though that doesn't make sense.
That was the first thing that entered my mind.
See? But clearly not making sense doesn't matter anymore.
Because all of their history can just be wiped
exactly.
clean. Whereas one guy, we're going back to it even though we shouldn't. With this one, we'll just ignore
Genuinely, I could see it as he calls up Wardlow, and Wardlow's so mad at the Undisputed Kingdom for, like, because where's he been, right?
Yeah.
So then he's mad at them, like Hobbs is mad at Callis for forgetting about him and not checking on him or whatever. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, because you guys forgot about me, I'm going to help MJF get payback on you, which would ignore their history of MJF mistreating him. So then, see, it doesn't make sense, but it's just enough slight logic for them to get it in the door.
Could be.
Don't take that idea. That's no. Then we get a graphic for the Full Gear Contender Series. So we're going to get a 4-way for Private Party's tag titles, which is their way of saying they had no time to book a storyline.
That's correct.
But it could be good. We got Outriders versus Top Flight on Collision tomorrow, as of this recording.
Mm-hmm.
FTR versus House of Black, which is on Dynamite, so I think that's next week's show. I don't remember which two of it is. I hope it's Murphy and King.
I don't know.
I would assume it's Murphy and King. LFI versus Acclaimed is the last one on another Collision. I think it'll be Top Flight, FTR, and Acclaimed. It's pretty straightforward. I would hope, though, it's Top Flight, House of Black, and LFI. Like, that would be just more interesting.
I would prefer LFI in there for sure.
Especially if it's Taurus and
exactly
Dralistico.
Yeah, I guess Dralistico.
Because, like, let's make them the tag team, make Roos a singles guy.
Yeah.
Like,
although Roosh to Roos would be pretty. Sorry, Mortos.
Bull and Ram.
Awesome. That's right.
But yeah, so that would be cool. And as much as I'm going to complain about the story or whatever, I can't complain about a good old 4-way tag that tends to work out.
That should be fun.
Then we get Jay White interview. He talks about Hangman saying White doesn't know how he's going to come at him. But this leads to Hangman interrupting. They get into a brawl. They fight out to the arena. Paige sends White into the barricade, traps his ankle between there, and he picks up a chair. Juice makes a save. White and Hangman briefly brawl in the ring. Paige escapes, though. Albin on his injured leg. White did a promo saying he's going to beat Paige and dismantle him. He said Hangman's never been ahead of him and never will be. He told Hangman that leg would be his downfall once more, and maybe he'll be the first to make him tap out.
Mm-hmm.
Swell.
So I was talking about maybe there's too many factions in AEW, but I think it does contribute to Hangman looking even cooler because he's this lone wolf, right? Especially as a heel, he is not part of any group really at all. Not really, he isn't.
He isn't.
And the tap out thing, I think, creates a story for the match, right? Where White can obsess over trying to make Paige, and it could even cost him the match.
That's true. That could work. I could see that happening. That might be part of it. And then also you have Hangman obviously gunning for White's leg as a payback thing.
And you could have like White not going for pinfalls when he maybe should because he's determined
he could hit a Blade Runner and then opt to go for some
submission.
I know I think a stable of his moveset was inverted figure 4 in terms of leg targeting. So
I'm just happy we're running the match back because I thought their chemistry was fantastic. And like they had a 4-star match just kind of not impromptu, but it wasn't,
kind of got pulled out of thin air.
Wasn't really built, so they're putting some time.
And it's not his career-defining feud, but this is one of Hangman's big feuds, I think, for the company, just considering it dates back a while. And so I enjoyed their chemistry together for sure. I like them both a lot. And Hangman looks like a madman, and I think that was a good point. Him being on his own, and he's just gonna do whatever.
In a place full of factions, he's on his own. Kind of like Sting was. Well, that's the one thing Darby doesn't have going for him. He's already kind of affiliated with people.
Darby?
Whereas if we're doing him as the Sting from the Rafters thing. Sting just stood up there and never was with anyone on any. What
Oh,
side's
that's
he
true.
on? Blah blah blah. We already know.
Oh, that's true. That's
with
true.
Darby.
Okay.
Sorry, I was flashing back to other things we were talking about before.
No, I just thought. No, I got that. I was just like, who's Darby affiliated with? But I guess he's already kind of chosen his stance. So I guess
his side is clear. Whereas
that's
before
fair.
it was always like, is he NWO or is he WCW?
That's what I'm saying. I think like you could make a play on that where it's like he for whatever reason he's not confident enough to get involved, or he's not sure if he should get involved because he maybe doesn't feel like he can make the change or something. Then like the confidence builds up, right? So you can make a different play.
And maybe
on that.
he gives some promo where it's kind of like he's disappointed in AEW's support for something, and it becomes like, is he forsaking
right?
us?
There's ways to work it. And again, I think we've crafted a well put together plan there. White almost got Adam Cold.
He did.
But White always cuts a killer promo. No complaints. They're like, for some people who don't like his style, I will never understand that. I love the way he speaks, the cadence he has. Like, I think his tone is the way he speaks. It's hard to put into words, but the style he has is good. He has his style. He has his voice
and a Kiwi accent.
And his accent's cool. Babyface or heel, his promos always get the job done for me. And I was thinking a contract signing, but honestly, just in general segment and all, that's no physicality, because I'd love to see them have a promo battle because they're both great, but also more so Hangman forced not to brawl like a lunatic. You know what I mean? So I hope in the coming weeks we get some sort of no physicality in-ring segment between them, because I think that would really push the build into overdrive.
Yep.
I did see next week we're getting Hangman and Christian against Juice and Switchblade.
Hangman having a tag partner is weird.
The caption phrase says like his only possible ally.
Can they coexist?
More so just because Christian is, obviously he had the feud with Switchblade as well. And I guess they're both despicable heels right now, him and Hangman.
Despicable.
So it works. Then we get Statlander and Monet. Statlander's getting interviewed by Renee and about facing Monet for the title at Full Gear, because that's our match. Statlander said Monet can't change the fact that Chris will be TBS champion at Full Gear. Monet was in the passenger seat of a car yelling at Camille for not doing anything right. So Camille, didn't she try to hit her with the car? I don't.
She tried. So Camille's driving, tries to run over Statlander, and Monet's actual line to Camille was, "Are you dumb or are you stupid?" Nice. So those are the same thing.
I think that's funny.
You're dumb.
I've said that before. It's like, are you dumb or are you dumb?
Right.
Statlander fought back, slammed the door into Camille's arm, slammed Monet on the head of the car, and the title belt went flying.
That was my favorite part.
Yeah.
Because I thought the rest of this was really cheesy.
I didn't really care about it. Honestly, all I wrote was this was fine. I'm not overly interested, which is my code. I didn't really pay attention.
I thought it was a cheesy segment. The whole, you're trying to kill her, basically.
Over a title match.
Or at least it seriously injure her, and then you're like, "Are you dumb or stupid?" Oh, it was just.
I thought it was funny because then it's like, she's trying to injure her or kill her, and then she's like, "What the hell? You didn't murder her."
And the title going flying was the funny part of this. I thought, and I don't think Statlander sounded good delivering her a few lines.
Again, I did not pay attention.
Attempted murder. I thought this was a rough segment all around.
Yeah. Then we hear from the Patriarchy. Cage said security's at ringside for Hook's protection. He welcomed Sabian to the Patriarchy. I do kind of like his look. He just looks nice with the dark beard and the white hair and the samurai ponytail. That's it. He's got a nice look going.
Okay.
Bring back the super bad theme though. Goated. He said Kip was a fatherless loser looking for some guys. I like that he brings this guy into his faction. So oh yeah, you're a fatherless loser. Just never change, Christian. Cage showed. I wonder if he's here because they're not gonna be able to pay off the kill switch thing now.
Maybe.
That sucks.
Not for a long time.
That sucks. I thought that was gaining traction again as well. Cage showed a clip of Sabian saving him from cashing the contract. I think it was at Grand Slam, right? And then Claudio and Pac were backstage. He said in that moment Kip did more for him than any of his other sons have ever done, because I guess the thing is that he saved him from wasting the contract there.
Do you think they knew that at the time, or I don't revising it now?
I think it's decent logic in hindsight. I could see how that would be the logic. I think it makes sense. I just don't think it was portrayed enough as that.
And what's Sabian's motivation for doing that?
I guess he wanted to join the group.
I guess.
Which, again, makes sense, but it wasn't portrayed enough. Because remember, our constant confusion about what the deal was with him? So, I'll talk about my thoughts at the end, but, I think the logic makes sense, and I kind of like it in that regard. I just wish they had portrayed it better in the run up, so that I was able to kind of see that.
It feels like they went and looked at what has happened and then
thought they kind of went with a possibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead of planning it this way from the beginning.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. They just needed to be communicate better, and I like this. Like, so Christian's like overly praising Sabian and kind of throwing shade at Nick Wayne.
So now Nick Wayne is in the Luchasaurus role because Luchasaurus can't be in that role.
That kind of surprised me, and I kind of liked it. Nick was kind of like giving like this like confused look as Sabian's hugging Christian, so I thought that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Hook made his entrance, and Hook said whatever Christian has to say, make it good and make it fast because he doesn't have the patience. Cage calls Hook an ass kicker and he's a problem. He said Hook that he needed someone like him, so he had to make sure he was disciplined enough. He admitted that he couldn't have another voice in his ear, and he took Taz out. He admitted he hit Taz in the lead pipe with a lead pipe to his knee. He said that Taz saw so why he needs security footage. That confuses me.
I was wondering, is that them trying to cover up another plot hole? Because he's like, he saw my face, so why didn't he just say it was Christian?
Is that him?
It's not like he beat him into a coma or something.
Is that him trying to like throw shade at Taz to try to persuade Hook, I guess? He told Hook that Taz was a big fish in a small pond. Their audio cut out there, so it sounded like he said he was a bitch in a small pond, which I was like, that does not make sense. He said Taz feeling under the pressure in the big time, which is a good way to frame in heel logic. Like, I kind of like that, which obviously wasn't true, but it was WWF's fault. But
that's right.
I do kind of like that in the Christian's eyes. Cage wanted to know if Hook wanted to be an announcer like his father, or a multi-time world champion like Christian, kind of like that as well. He claimed nobody cares if Taz is alive, and then he said, "I wish your father was dead."
He does.
I love it. Hook runs down, takes the security guys, and the patriarchy evacuated in the midst of that.
I thought like Christian might be the only guy that can make this entertaining because they were asking him to like cover up some plot holes and just like he quickly does, and then he's just back to being insulting and like wishing death on people's fathers. So
yeah,
he keeps it entertaining even though it's a story I don't care about, and he's trying to like go back and sew up some holes that seem to be there, but he's just really entertaining on the mic right now.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and like I said, I like the way they framed it. I just wish they didn't have to kind of work so hard to do so. And Nick Wayne catching some scorn from Christian was surprising, and I thought it was interesting. He was customary savage against Hook, and I will never not laugh at dead father jokes, especially when he straight up said, I wish your father was dead," which is just like, I don't know, man. It's still an odd feud. I don't care about a ton about Hook, but like you said, Christian is gold.
He is.
Not Bullet Club gold though.
No.
Don Calzine's next. A big black dude walks on screen with a Hurt business card. I'm just kidding.
No.
He has an envelope for Callis full of money, and he also hands him a ring, and it's MJF's ring. We're getting a video playing saying like basically he's bribing Don to help him out again.
Yeah.
Or again, I don't know if against.
So again, Cage and Archer being like APA for hire. And Chronic did that gimmick.
But then
too.
it ends up being Takeshita.
Yeah. So
more on that later.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Not new for MJF to pay people off. I think I swear he did that with like Roosh or something. He's paid off somebody before. I don't remember if it was actually Callis or not. I'm more so intrigued by the fact that it's Callis.
He was paying off Andrade back in the day too.
Was that big money Matt Hardy? I don't know.
Might have been. I don't know.
Both supervillains, so it makes sense. I do kind of enjoy an affiliation between MJF and Callis just because they're both supervillained.
They're in the supervillain like monthly club meetings.
Yeah, them and Christian go to like these meetings, you know. I'm not sure who MJF has in mind, just because none of the Callis boys really have a history with Cole. So maybe he just wants a big boy like Cage or Archer to do it. Takeshita could easily murderize Cole as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Because he is surprisingly large.
I don't love the Cole MJF story that I hate is now pulling in other people as well into it.
I'm fine with it just because it's like more of a payoff thing, less like Callis and them are going to be involved for an extended period of time.
Yeah, I hope
it's just
not.
like you're going to get paid to do this job. It's like a money fight.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of honestly, in that regard, would wish he had paid off the MVP to Shelton just to get Shelton a match, and then also because they're about the money, that would kind of serve as the gimmick, you know?
It would.
Then we get Jamie Hayter versus Penelope Ford. Ford hit like that back spring elbow into the corner. She did like a matrix duck to duck a Larry and hit a cutter for two.
Because this is a showcase for Penelope Ford for some reason. This irked me.
And then Hayter countered out of a fireman's carry, quickly hit the Haterade for the win. This was incredibly short for how much they set it up, and it felt kind of underwhelming. I didn't have massive expectations, but it really didn't feel like much. Ford got most of it, which is odd, and then she lost.
I haven't done it in a while. This is your women's match on
It
Dynamite.
didn't feel like it really benefited either of them.
I just thought it weird because Penelope got like 80% of the match
And
and then just sudden hater win. So the Matrix into a cutter was kind of cool by Ford, I will say. Remember,
I feel like I remember her doing that back
she
in the day.
matrixed away from a clothesline and then coming out of the Matrix hit a cutter.
Like jump back into a cutter.
That
It was
pretty
kind of cool.
But I get like my confusion with the hater treatment continues here. She doesn't seem super cool having competitive matches, no offense, with Penelope Ford, because Ford doesn't get much attention, although she's been out too, I guess. But
2 years.
Hater hit
they were
like
best friends.
Hater hit like 3 moves and was dominated for most of it, but got a quick win. So I don't know. I don't get what they're doing exactly here.
I would be inclined to agree. Then we got a quick package, which basically just said Mina's coming next week. And there was a brief flash of black and white and a QR code in the corner. Apparently, I believe it's teasing Toni Storm.
Oh, yeah. She's been gone for a while, I guess.
I haven't cared. Then we get a hype package for Okada and in turn the C2.
Yeah, great first announcement for the.
Yeah, I was just talking heads about how great and special Okada is, and apparently he'll tie the record of, I guess, like major tournament round robin wins of Chono. I guess because they're lumping in G2 or sorry, not G2, G1 and C2 as kind of.
Yeah, so he's billing himself as the
Same
greatest tournament wrestler of all time, and that is debatable, arguable at least for him.
Yeah, and
how many G1s? 4?
I think so. Either that or like this would be his
3 or 4. Yeah.
And so I really like this because it adds some stakes for Okada to win the C2 beyond keeping the title. Now it's about establishing his legacy and
he's won 4.
Establishing himself above Chono, right? So I kind of like that. Now beyond keeping the title, now he wants to further his own legacy. So I like that. And I also love building the C2 already because it was amazing last year and I'm excited.
Chono has 5, Okada has 4.
Oh, so he's going to tie the record this year.
Right.
Interesting. I don't think so, but
no, I don't either.
Then we go to our main event, which is Kyle Fletcher and who should win the C2, Konosuke Takeshita, versus Ricochet and Mystery Partner.
I'd take either one of those guys.
That's true. I would say Takeshita because TOE.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Fletcher, but that's how we roll. Who's got a buzz cut and trunks now? Not feeling the trunks, not gonna lie. Powerhouse Hobbs is back as Ricochet's partner.
Looking as big and mean as ever.
Yep.
Although he's a face now, I guess. So
Keyword
less mean.
So I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't like him as a baby face.
No.
I'm hoping it's short-termed or short-lived, whatever the expression is. Ricochet
and he's in the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying face for a little bit, turn heel on Ricochet, Hurt Syndicate.
Hey, that makes a lot of sense because Hurt Syndicate has threatened him for not joining them.
And they'll take Hobbs over Ricochet.
Right. Hobbs has accepted and sort of beats on Ricochet
like they keep the door open for both of them, but then since Hobbs gives them definitive yes, they're like, all right, let's take out Ricochet.
That could work.
Gives Ricochet a feud as well. Ricochet had a moonsault off to the outside off of Hobbs' shoulders. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Fletcher drilled Ricochet with the draping DDT. Then the Callis boys hit a tandem gorebuster and simultaneous boots to the head. Hobbs hot tag flurry. Scoops him to Takeshita from Hobbs. Avalanche power slam from Hobbs for 2. Fletcher broke the pin. Takeshita avoids the spinebuster, smashes Hobbs to the forearm. Hobbs gets back up and a strike exchange ensues. Fletcher hits a sit-out last ride to Ricochet for 2. That was pretty sweet.
It was.
Callis boys hit stereo corner kicks to Ricochet, then Hobbs gets taken out. Ricochet misses a 450. Takeshita hits a jumping knee. Ricochet went for poison rod. Takeshita blocks it because, then he gets him up in an electric chair so that the Callis boys can hit a doomsday device. Ricochet nails a shooting star on Takeshita for a near fall. He beats Takeshita with like his basement lariat a la Hidden Blade.
Not your favorite?
No. Fletcher attacks Ricochet with a chair after match. Davis comes out, stops Fletcher from hitting a Tiger Driver. She shoves Fletcher down. Archer attacks him from behind. And Cage came out as well. Cole comes out, brawls with Takeshita. They left. Fletcher has a screwdriver. Davis is in trouble. Ospreay is back. He clears the ring. And the babyface is clear house.
Very good tag team match to end the show, but not. I don't think it was amazing. I wouldn't say underdelivered necessarily. It was good. There's lots of entertaining stuff, and they're really nice to see Hobbs back. I thought his sequences with Takeshita looked really good. Good action. And this is the only way, I guess, that Ricochet should get a pin on this guy here on Takeshita.
Yeah, I guess it's for the title match.
Ospreay coming back is nice, and maybe he and Fletcher can quickly build to a match for Full Gear.
I feel like we have enough time too, because enough has been established where there's not a ton that needs to be done for the feud, so I feel like it won't feel rushed.
So a good match and a nice return for Hobbs.
Strong main event, I thought. Entertaining as expected. Nice to see Hobbs back. He's a great big man, but I don't really want him as a babyface. Like I said, get him in the Hurt Syndicate. I'm not the biggest fan of being second time. They use the trope of Cal's family member is injured and he comes back as a babyface because Callis didn't check on them. However, I do kind of like in the regard that kind of builds up the supervillain aura of Callis. Like, he's just that much of a prick that, like, once you're injured and he finds a better meal ticket, he doesn't care about you. And so I kind of like that. It just wasn't as good with Guevara last year because that was an excuse clearly to get him back with Jericho. Back to the match, I thought Hobbs and Ricochet made for an entertaining team with the clash of styles. Fletcher and Takeshita are two of my favorite wrestlers currently in terms of in-ring work, so they were great and a lot of great action, and it was entertaining. I'm just not a fan of Takeshita eating the pin.
Ever.
I get Ricochet is in line for a title shot, and I don't necessarily want Fletcher taking falls when he's about to feud with Ospreay, but I don't like Takeshita eating a pin when he's just become a champion.
It was just like Ishii pinning Jericho, I guess.
Pretty much, but like Takeshita just won his first title, now he's eating a pin. And then, like, if he loses to Cole next week, I'm going to be angry. It's a non-title match, so there's every chance he could. But that can't be happening. He needs to be booked like the beast he is and not losing more now that he's won a title. It doesn't make sense. Have Callis or MJF help him if necessary, but he should just win. And, like, I think they said it had to be 3 consecutive wins, right? So Cole can bounce back, though. Between the 3 shows AEW has, he can easily rack up the necessary wins. But the post-match stuff was good too. Fletcher never outright harmed Davis and vice versa, so we're keeping the Aussie Open dream alive. And I'm glad Ospreay's back so we can get the build going for him versus Fletcher, which I feel like has to be targeted for Full Gear, because if we wait till like World's End, which is the next
that should be
show,
a sweet match.
That'll be way too long. That match will be awesome. Not my preferred result, but Ricochet versus Takeshita will also be amazing.
Yep. Overall, I thought several good matches, nothing great. I liked the Death Rider stuff, the Hurt Syndicate stuff. Just overall feel to me, it felt like a B show. Like, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't a standout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was good. I think it was mostly good, but then I kind of faltered with the Cole match and then the women's match. But I think most of the big segments were good. Like Hangman Switchblade was good. Christian was pretty good. I really enjoyed Hurt Syndicate.
Me too.
Anything with Blackpool. So I would agree it was a B.
Yeah, solid show. Always hoping for better, but still enjoyable. It went pretty quick, 2 hours. Okay, so we'll shift gears, stop the analysis, get into a little bit of trivia. It's me asking Jack some questions, and we like to call it Off the Top of His Head. All right, so I don't know if they're going to be super challenging or even accurate, but I went AI generated again. So sometimes when you make corrections, that's interesting and showcases your knowledge anyway, so it works. I said, give me 15 difficult professional wrestling trivia questions with answers from the 90s to now. And it was more than happy to do that for me. So we'll see what they... should I go from 1 to 15 or 15 to 1? You pick.
Go up to 1.
Go up to 1 from 15? Okay, which wrestler holds the record for most Royal Rumble eliminations in a single match? Now, this might stop at 2020-ish, usually, somewhere. So it may not be.
There's a caveat, because I think they would go with Strowman from Greatest Royal Rumble.
Which is how many?
13, I think.
So they have 13, but they have someone else.
Roman?
No. That's what I thought, too.
Because Roman had 12, and that was the record for the standard Rumble matches.
They're saying Brock Lesnar 13 in 2020.
Oh, that's true. That one actually sounds right.
Is it?
I did forget about that. I don't know because remember he had that was the one where he was
I thought it was Roman
running half the match.
Oh yeah, everyone came out and he chucked them. That was awesome because that was a really unique Royal Rumble, like I remember it. So yeah, maybe that's right then. I don't know, we could fact check it, but
I'm disappointed it's not Roman. That was like a record that was like always around when I was watching.
So not counting Roman, I don't think they're up to date with that. Who's the longest reigning WWE champion of the modern era? So they're saying post 90s.
Is it Cena?
Not according to that. Punk.
That makes sense.
They're saying 434 days.
That is, I've heard so many times I knew the exact number of Punks.
Okay, so maybe they're right.
My second guess would have been Styles after Punk.
Who, is this right? Who was the first wrestler to win both the WWE Championship and the Universal Championship?
Oh, I would have to be Lesnar.
Correct. Okay, these are good questions then.
Because he's only, the fourth champion?
Yeah.
And so because the first three Universal Champions are Goldberg, Owens, and Balor, none of which have held the WWE title. So it would have to be Lesnar.
Who was first? Balor?
Balor.
Yeah, I thought so. And then he broke himself, right? Quickly. I think we've had this one before. What year did the WWE Network officially launch?
2014.
Correct. Number 11. Which wrestler, this one's really tough, ready? Did Shawn Michaels defeat in his last match at WrestleMania 26?
No one. He didn't beat anybody.
Okay. Who did they said Undertaker.
He didn't. He ended
he
the
stopped
streak.
the streak. That's why I was pretty sure that's not right. What was the original ring name of WWE superstar Edge? I don't know if they said when he first debuted, but I don't think he ever.
Sexton Hardcastle?
Yeah, he never had
didn't use that in WWE, no.
But you still know what it was.
It's infamously one of his old names, but...
I feel like this is right. Who was the first female inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Medusa?
No. Well, they're not saying that.
Probably Smula?
Yeah. This is right. Which wrestler was known as the world's most dangerous man?
Shamrock?
Correct. Number 7. What was the main event of WrestleMania 2000?
Oh, the McMahon in every corner 4-way, which was Foley, Triple H, Rock, and Big Show.
Correct.
Elimination style.
Correct. Which tag team won the first ever WWE Tag Team Championships? Don't know if this is right or not. It'd be a sweet tag team, let me tell you.
Wait. Like,
couple
overall,
of
or
workers.
like... What do they mean, first tag titles?
First ever, like, when they introduced the WWE tag titles,
That could be Benoit and Angle?
Yes.
Okay, so they're talking about then the lineage that goes up to the current Raw belt, because...
If you say so.
Well, I guess the world tag titles would have been the old ones I'm thinking of, because these were like the SmackDown ones in the brand split, like SmackDown 6 era. And then these were the ones, then when they unified them in 2010, they carried this lineage instead of the older belts for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And those belts became the bronze, belts, and the red belts, and the red belts have become the world tag titles that the Judgment Day belts have. So these, I guess, are the first belts in the lineage that the belts that the Judgment Day.
I really need the "You Are a Huge Nerd" sound effect right now.
Yeah, and Miz has held every version of the belt.
Amazing. Who is the first wrestler to win Money in the Bank contract and cash in on the same night?
Kane.
Correct.
2010. SmackDown.
Which WWE superstar ended Goldberg's undefeated streak in WCW?
Nash.
Yes.
They also he also ended Wrath's streak to bring him back up to set him up as like a streak killer.
This you'll never get. Which pay-per-view event did the infamous Montreal Screwjob occur? Who could know?
Okay.
Not super wrestling fans would.
Great Balls of Fire.
Exactly. So what was it? And what year?
Survivor Series 97.
Correct. Who was the first ever WWE Hardcore Champion, and in what year did they win the title?
Mankind in 98.
Yeah, because it was the smashed up title, right?
Yeah, and I think it was before the tournament at that show, because they had the vacant time. Remember that was the tournament where they screw Mankind in the end?
Mm-hmm.
A year after the screw job, coincidentally. And that's when Rocky turned heel to like join the corporation.
Right.
And so I think Mankind thought he had like favor with Vince or something, and then obviously it was like a ruse.
Which WWE superstar won the 1999 Royal Rumble by only spending 56 seconds in the ring?
1999.
That's what they're saying.
You said 99.
Oh, sorry.
Forgot a digit, buddy. That was Vince's.
Redacted.
Rumble, right? Yeah, redacted.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, because it was one of those ones where like him and Austin brawled early on, so like he's not in the match for most of it, and then he comes back.
So that was actually okay. Most of the questions were decent, and the answers were correct, except for
yeah, I'd say so.
Michael's ending the streak, I guess. Was not him.
Pretty good one.
All right.
He's not even the second person to beat Taker at Mania. He's just not.
He's just not. We will switch back to talking about wrestling in the final segment, maybe this week, where we just sort of anything notable we watched on any other show this week. We call it Highspots and Restholds. Okay, so basically no Raw this week because I have no interest in Saudi Raw. So I think the channel was on, right? So we caught a little bit of it. The only thing we saw, I think you were there with me, we saw the finish of the Women's Battle Royal, right? Where they were on the apron forever.
EO won.
And EO ended up winning. And I'm super happy for her.
Women's Battle Royal in Saudi is surprising because that's just like all of them there.
She's been killing it in ring lately on Raw, so I think she deserves a shot. And somebody has to pick up the slack for Ripley being out for a long period of time, right? So why not EO? She's awesome. And yeah, so with the women being on, even just the fact that they are not allowed to dress how they want to dress,
yeah, they're all
is
in, like,
enough
these
for me to go
bodysuits.
like, I'm out on this. If you are telling an entire gender what they can and cannot wear, I have an issue with that. So I didn't. The only other thing we saw was, because I think it was right after it, was the Miz Wyatt segment where it's basically he's been abducted and he's got duct tape over his mouth, right?
I heard the cat scratching.
Et cetera, et cetera. I don't remember what else it was, but basically Miz is abducted and he's really, really scared, and he's not a very good actor, so
and they're after him and not.
It all comes across as kind of cheesy. Yeah, he was the target all along or whatever. So
they did actually
see
show some clips and make the connection that I forgot Bo Dallas was a lackey of his at one point, so that was nice at least.
NXT, it was the ECW sort of won this week, and they used the old ECW theme song, which I know I'm not a nostalgia guy, but that did hit me because I was, when ECW finally got on TV that I could watch, I was super into it in the late 90s. So the theme song, and then they had like older kind of grainy looking footage they had done to make it a mixture of their stars and some of the ECW people that would be on the show. So I thought that was pretty cool, just something different. The show opened with a really strong match. It was Jada Parker, Lola Vice, hardcore match, and Dawn Marie's the referee. A couple ECW talents were really under involved in things. She was one. She did nothing. Like, obviously in a hardcore match, all you have to do is count pinfall attempts.
It's not like she has any affiliation with anyone, so
she didn't do anything else.
Biased,
right. Things got going right away. Lola Vice, Parker is carrying a chair, and Vice hit a spinning back fist. Looked really good. Smashed the chair right into Parker's face. There was a drop toe hold onto a chair, and Parker almost took it like midsection instead of face, and it collapsed the chair and looked maybe better than if she'd maybe taken it the way I think she really wanted to. We got Lola Vice hit the Three Amigos onto chairs, and I was telling you, Parker, like for the majority of this match, was taking all of the plunder. It seemed like it was at one point I was wondering, like, did Vice agree to do this, but only if she didn't have to really take anything? But then she took the Jada Parker's corner butt drop thing.
I saw that, yeah.
Through the ladder. Looked awesome. It was like later across the ladder in the corner, and then hit it's called the teardrop, I guess. Looked really good. And then Vice also took a backbreaker on a steel chair that looked good. Did you see the finish of this?
I don't think so.
Jada Parker grabs a brick and smashes it on Lola Vice's face, and Lola Vice kicks out somehow. And then Parker follows up with the hypnotic for the win. So brick to face, no. Butt to face, yes, gets you the win, right? So I thought this was a really good match, and a pretty clear sign that Parker's getting a significant push, because Vice has been pretty protected for the most part until recently as well. So I agree with this. She's awesome. In a stacked division, I think she's a star on the rise. And there's a ton, like, if she keeps on this developmental trajectory, like we said about Trick, and Trick kind of plateaued, but Parker, like, there's now all of this talent that they've just brought in, like super established, good workers who she can sort of learn from and develop, right? So she's in a great position to be a big deal, I think, just on talent and the people there to work with her now. So Kalani Jordan's backstage, of course, in an RVD, like holding the splits while talking to RVD. And remember, it's basically like, I think what he was trying to say is that she should try to pin Fallon Henley in the match tonight to send a message to Henley ahead of their. But it just came across like
he just said you should beat.
You should try and win your match tonight, basically. And she's like, "That's a great idea." So
yeah, it's like you should try and beat Henley in the match. I was like,
and she agrees, right? What a surprise! But I guess the real point of this was Wesley attacks RVD, and it's kind of like those weird perspectives. So you're just kind of, the camera's like on the floor or whatever.
I saw that.
So Wesley viciously attacks RVD with a chair. Javon, Evans, and Lee then had a really fun 12-minute match. Evans gets the win with, I told you, a frog splash that was a little bit too ambitious. It was a bit too far. And he sort of did the one where your knees hit the mat first. He still made contact with Lee, but it clearly wasn't. The rest, I thought, was really good and at a fast pace and pretty clean. RVD came out, so he was another one that, like, he did nothing. He came out, dodged a Lee chair shot.
He's done more in AEW.
He's had matches. It was like he couldn't do anything here. Like, he didn't pass their... He wasn't cleared by them or something. Like, because he was in his gear even, I think. And it was like you expected him to do something, and he didn't do anything. Anyways, Evans and Lee are both sick athletes. They seem to mesh really well here. Lee's heel character developing. The only thing is, like, his in-ring, right, is not super heely still. No. So you kind of have to just
alter
forget
the style
that.
Even.
Yeah.
Like...
really good mid-show match. So, like, 2 good matches on this show already. So I was pretty happy. Eddie Thorpe seems to be getting into a new angle where he's getting frustrated with being ignored by Ava because she kind of brushes him off in a backstage segment, and that was pretty much it. Because Ava's on her way to the ring with Robert Stone and Stevie Turner to announce that NXT Deadline will take place on December 7th. And
such a big announcement.
Well, on those, there will be the Iron Survivor Challenge, which I've enjoyed so far, and I think is kind of cool for a new match.
Also a lame announcement, just because that's a given.
So Stone, who I don't think has been a heel lately at all, is suddenly doing the most generic mocking of Philadelphia that he can.
Why?
And then lights go out, and it's Rhino, and he gores Stone. So
that's the only reason why.
Decent pop for Rhino and pretty much anyone ECW on this show, but as someone who watches TNA sometimes regularly, lately, sporadically, I don't need to see Rhino.
That's why I thought it was funny.
And man, if you think about it, the Iron Survivor Challenge for women could be, like, stacked.
They could actually do it well this year.
It could be super stacked for them.
I hope Javon's in it, for not the women's one.
Obviously, but yeah, I agree. I think that would
I hope Javon's in the women's one.
I mean, whatever, in anyone he wants, I guess. So Trick and Bubba lost to Paige and Holland in a really basic, like, I was like, this is it? So Bubba got a really good crowd reaction, but nothing of note really happened, and he looked really big and out of shape and slow.
He looked old.
Trick goes to boot Ridge. Ridge counters it into a roll-up, and it's over in 11 minutes. So, and then, of course, if you were worried, Paige gets absolutely jobbed out after the match.
I saw, because when is that not going to happen?
So he takes the what's up headbutt, and then Trick's looking for a table but can't find one, and Devon comes out carrying a table, and they don't even, but they don't 3D him.
I saw that.
They double choke slammed him. So I thought that was weird. Do you think there's any chance Paige regrets signing with this company? He has looked like an absolute chump.
I mean, at first everyone was like, "Oh, they're treating him so much better than AEW," and I would be inclined to agree. But then I feel like they put him up only to drag him back down.
And that's with giving him the main title on the show, and we're still like, it's been really underwhelming. And it's just like Ridge escapes anything because he's the next contender for Trick. So Paige is the goober that gets just destroyed. And anyways, I'm not happy about it. So Carmen Petrovich and Ashanti Adonis have now magically switched roles, and Adonis is a babyface and is rational and calm, and Carmen is like a volatile heel. So they're backstage, and she wants to know who the woman was. Remember, she was distracted by Ashanti leaving.
I guess is that to explain? I don't know if that explains.
And Adonis says that's his girl for now. And then since he never had anything specifically going on with Petrovich, and remember, I just texted you a line, Adonisly, I'm not even locked in with you. So he's basically the rational one going, listen, you never really committed to anything with me. You've just kind of been around. And so I have a different lady friend, and she has a problem with that. She gives him a bunch of attitude, wants him to stay out of her business. Adonis calls her on the attitude change and says it's not his type. And then he's like, by the way, I heard it was your birthday last week. Happy belated birthday. And then she's like, he knew it was my birthday? Kind of like, oh, maybe, like, I don't know. And then, of course, not of course, because it doesn't really make sense. Dion Lennox is like, they're basically talking where you and I are. And then Dion Lennox is like sitting where the camera is, just reading a book. So they're circling back. Because remember, they already had a little program together, Adonis and Dion, to start this whole thing, basically, because it was like, you're just a player who's a jerk to women, and I'm kind of sticking up for them. And now it's like, nope, Adonis is just like this great guy who is, anyways. And Carmen,
he's always Adonis with them, so.
But I still enjoy it. So I like they've just done a sudden flip, and it's a romantic angle I'm almost enjoying on NXT. Who knew? The heel 5-woman tag deliver a super generic. It's like,
well, because it's
they
new
all
Toxic
have to
Attraction,
say,
and then it's like it's Cora Jade and Perez,
but
Jade's
it's like you get a generic line, and then you get a generic line, and then Perez, because you're the champion, you get 4 generic lines at the end. And the baby faces had a promo earlier similar, and Lash and Jakara Jackson showed up. It wasn't really notable, so I didn't mention it till now. Tony D beat Nunzio in 3 minutes, and it was nothing. And they shake hands and hug for some reason after the match. I guess the turf war is over, sort of thing. But it was really nothing. Tony Mamaluke took a bump early on the outside, and then it was just really nothing. Lexis King is talking to William Regal backstage. Regal's proud of King for refusing to take shortcuts in his matches. Regal tells King...
Shouldn't he be proud of him for taking shortcuts?
Not, because this is now kinder, gentler Regal.
But I just think because recently, remember, he...
tried to give him the knucks.
Well, and not even that, but like in AEW, he would like
maybe he's testing.
He was helping MJF to be like.
Oh,
he was happy when MJF
that's
did
another
the
company now.
I'm just saying, Will
now
Washington.
Now he's sweet. Okay. He tells King he is not his father's son. Just as the No Quarter Catch crew walk up, and then Regal, ready. He asked Dempsey, "Are you like your father?" And Dempsey says that I guess we'll find out. So it's like we're almost wink, like. Their father and son, guys.
I know they have different names, but they still acknowledge it with Breaker.
Yes, so it looks like they're trying to like baby step towards it.
Have Lexis King turn heel and steal Regal's Hall of Fame ring, even if he doesn't have one, and they can feud over that.
Yeah,
because it's a great idea.
You mean his nostalgia ring?
Yeah. Hall of what's the nostalgia synonym? Because you could do like that. Hall of Nostalgia.
Well, you got to find a synonym for Hall, too, because I like it when you change both, okay?
That's true.
Regal tells Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights that the tag team division is wide open, so they should be ready. Adds that it's not Dempsey's group, but everyone's. It's one of those, like, there's no leader. And as he's walking away, Ren is like, he's so fatherly or something like that. I texted you this, too. Nikita Lyons as a heel is way better. So she admits that she was the one who attacked Rizzo. I kind of like this. It's simple, right? She's the one who's been attacked multiple times before. She's tired of it, so now she's sort of going to be the attacker.
Foyer sentimentality.
There you go. Better the attacker than the attackee. And she admits she was working for Femi. Femi needed a favor, so she helped him out. And she keeps hearing about this stacked NXT women's division, so she says stack these women up in front of her. And my God, is this an improvement? I don't think I've liked one thing she's done since her time in NXT, but I thought this was really good and refreshing.
You're telling me.
And she said she needed to reset on her return from the injury, and I couldn't agree more. And in storyline, she has been like taken out by sneak attacks, so now that's like her villain origin, right? Like
now she was once afraid of the parking lot, now she lives.
That's right. So I'm hoping. The problem is I haven't loved her in ring either, so a heel turn doesn't necessarily help that. So we'll see. Ava's backstage with Fraxium. She says she'll be assembling the entire tag team division for announcement. And Fraser's like, do we need to be there? And she's basically like, no, I'll let you know when I decide, or when we determine, I guess, who your new opponent is. Ava leaves and Axiom is like, okay, this gives us lots of time to prepare. And Fraser's like, sounds like a week off for me. So it's kind of like this, again.
Yeah, the dynamic.
The odd couple thing that has developed. And I think it's really helping Fraser, right? Because he's amazing in ring, but it's always, remember they were doing the...
Hard-hitting home truth.
Yeah, and it was just like, it's not working. He's kind of...
But can they coexist?
But this is working. So this is the best, like, can they coexist they've done, I think, in a long time. Who else is in the running for Tag Team of the Year?
Box.
Just because they have to be? Anyone from WWE other than Fraxium? No, right? So this is like the most obvious category, I think, other than Male Wrestler of the Year,
Unless
which is
Machine Guns pull something out of their ass, but I don't think it's too late.
It's too late. It's November.
And they only debuted like a couple
congratulations.
Weeks ago. Pretty much.
Francine's in the front row, and I didn't even know it was her until they told me. The main event was the 10-woman tag, right? So Perez, Jade, JC Jane, Henley, and Nyx taking on Vicaire, as they pronounce it. Jordan Grace, Kalani Jordan.
They also pronounce it Nathan Frazier, though.
Zarya, had to think. And
Zarya.
And Julia. Oh, yeah, Zarya. Damn it! This is going to be a problem.
I thought you were joking, but
no, I wasn't. I wasn't.
That's not good.
Felt like 5 minutes of entrances might have actually been, right? And then a commercial break, so cool start. And Zarya is an impressive-looking athlete, and I do like her entrance. Kalani's stuff, comparison here. Who in TNA do I always say looks cool but not impactful?
Trey Miguel.
Correct. So I think that's where we're at with her. Like, clearly athletic and stuff, but not a lot of impact on her offense, like Trey Miguel. The heels are afraid of Zarya. Things break down, all 10 brawl. Lonnie moonsault to the floor on all 5. Again, barely making contact. Signature parade, as I like to call it, heading into the finish, where Lash and Jakara Jackson come down and get taken out by Julia and Vikur on the floor. That leaves Perez alone with Grace and Zarya. God. And Zarya accidentally spears Jordan Grace. Zarya escapes the pop rocks, hits a cool looking F5 to Perez for the win. Thought the match was okay, but you know where it's like, there's 10 women, they give them 14 minutes or whatever. It's just not enough time for anyone to really do a lot. I actually thought Grace probably had the most impressive when she kind of got a hot tag and just went bananas. She looked really good here. So it does show off the depth of the division for sure. The match itself, I don't think, was the most cohesive thing. So I thought the opening hardcore match with Jada Parker was the match of the show. And then I also liked Evans and Lee probably better than this. But I think the point is, with this whole hitting us over the head of stack division, here's 10 of them. Well, here's 9 in Jasmine Nix. Well, here's 8 in Jasmine Nix and JC Jane. I think that's as far as we need to.
And Jordan Grace, because she's not even there.
Jordan Grace is cool, though. She's awesome. So, yeah, that was pretty much it for me. I did not check out any TNA.
I saw a post from the New Japan show. They're teasing, I think, Takeshita Takagi at Wrestle Kingdom.
Takeshita Takagi. Okay, that would be a very good match.
And Takagi is
he hits hard, too.
He also has the Never title, though, so you can do title for title. Now Takeshita have that. And then in Takeshita has the Continental title. Guess what? He's got 3 belts. What?
Belt collector time.
New Continental crown.
Nice. Do you have any figuring business to discuss? Or do you want to push it to next week? Whatever you want.
It was kind of informal, so it doesn't really matter. The only thing I had that was also informal was the Bloodline talk.
Oh, right, from SmackDown.
Was that I saw them, there's a whole segment, and so Jay brought Sammy there to talk to Roman, whatever, and he's like getting Roman to hear him out. And I liked it because, like, Sammy, like I said, he's telling Roman he'll help them, or he'll fight with them at War Games, or because that's what's gonna happen. But like, for sure, he needs to apologize. And Roman's like,
and why would Sammy really with them?
Why would I? Even though we all know, Roman's like, why would I apologize to you? You're not family. I don't care. He's like, no, apologize to Jay. And he's like, I'm sorry, you wasted my time with this fool. So like, Sammy's out. And then they had this backstage where Jay's like, I asked you to hear him out, and Roman's like, why? He's not family. Doesn't mean anything to us. And then he's like, he does like that condescending thing he did in his first one, where he's like, you know, if you want to follow him, like, you can go leave. And then Jay's like, I told you not to talk to me like that. So I liked it because Jay's like actually real here, and he actually made sense and was like kind of remembering, like learning from the past, and not just being this goofball who like he was stupid. And despite me not loving Roman Reigns in the ring, the presence he has and his character works really great now. So I think he's still good as like he's still stuck in his ways a bit, like being the megamaniacal leader, whatever the word is. Yeah. And like I think I saw on World Culture they were talking about like he needs to be the one to bring everyone together, right? So I think this is part of him learning he can't run the way he was before. I did see it in the show. Sammy ended up haluva kicking Solo and ended up signing with them. So I guess all is well anyways. So maybe that kind of takes away from what I saw. I hope next week, though, Roman does apologize, because I think his actual growth is important, because he can't just be a babyface just because it came back. He has to actually change. And he sort of, now it's a stark contrast to his tribal chiefing to Solo's, right? Because the presence and the whatever on the charisma on Reigns is and Solo's off the charts. Arguably and Solo a charisma vacuum. Not quite a vacuum, but it's just like, I think it's, void. And I almost feel bad for him. I think it was just too much too soon, right? Like, well, because he was really good in the enforcer role, but then I think they just went, like too soon with the. And now I feel like the whole storyline should be built to just elevate
Fatu to the moon
Fatu
is what I would do.
Fatu and Roman at Mania.
Find a way to get writing for that to be the end goal.
Yeah, because Fatu is legit.
He is. Is that going to wrap us up for this week?
I think so.
Okay. So we will finish here. Thanks for tuning in to episode 225. If you'd like to contact us, do so. Love any comments or feedback on the show. We will absolutely be back next week for episode 226. So we hope you have a great week. And until then, everybody, take care.